Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Aso, this is Aso Tarot, and in today's Pick a Meme reading, we are going to be asking the question, do you pass the vibe check? Now, if you're asking what that is, essentially what we're going to be doing is looking at your current vibes and seeing whether they do or don't pass the vibe check. So I'll kind of explain how this is going to work. We're going to start by looking at what your vibe is, and I'm going to use a tarot deck with both upright and reversals, and if you have 3 or more upright cards, then you pass the vibe check. If you have less than 3 cards upright, then you do not pass the vibe check. There are 0 consequences and 0 rewards for passing or not passing the vibe check. It is more of just a baseline. Now, with this, what's your vibe? It's very important to note that you can have cards that you might interpret as negative, but if they are upright, then they pass the vibe check. And my reasoning for that is sometimes we have energies that we have to process or experience in order to be in alignment with what is meant for us. And so essentially, I'm going to treat upright tarot cards as energies that are balanced and aligned with your highest good at this time. And then cards that are reversed, we will look at them as blocked or unbalanced energies. So these might be energies you're resisting, energies that you maybe don't have a grasp of, energies you may be trying to integrate but are having a hard time for whatever reason. It is quite likely that every group will have upright and reversed cards, but based on those and me describing your vibe, if describing your vibe sounds correct and it resonates, then I'm going to use 2 separate oracle decks, and one of the oracle decks is going to be used for the upright cards, and so we're going to use it to look at how these upright vibes, these aligned vibes, are empowering you and how they're working for you at this time. And then we're going to use a separate oracle deck for the reversal cards, and those will serve as guidance for how to shift into energies that are aligned with you or move through blocked or imbalanced energies. And then we will just finish off with guidance for you moving forward and guidance on how to maintain a vibe that's aligned with you, that feels good. So this is mainly a self-check-in reading with terminology that I use. Do not take a shot every time I say vibe. You will end up 6 feet under, and that's not a vibe. So with that being said, we have 3 different memes for your viewing pleasure, picking pleasure. They are freshly harvested, farm to table memes. And I understand if it's challenging to pick based on that, so I do have your guidance cards here as well if you want to pick based on that, but it's of course absolutely okay to pick more than one. But starting with group number 1, we have this I'm seriously at my limit axolotl meme. For group number 2, we have this Barney commit tax fraud meme. And then finally, for group number 3, we have this it takes a little treat to tame a beast boba tea meme. So like I said, it is absolutely okay to pick more than one group. If you find that you pick a group and the vibe doesn't match where you're at, feel free to just choose another one. There is no consequences for whether you pass or not, or whether you pick the right pile or not. The right pile for you is the one that resonates. So if you don't resonate with the first group, then feel free to try another. There are no right and wrongs here. My goal of this reading is just to bring you closer to a present awareness of where you're at and just help you step into it more fully and just be more at peace with where you're at and be more gentle and patient with yourself. So with that being said, go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. Like I said, absolutely okay to be drawn to more than one, but once you have picked your group or groups, you can go ahead and scroll down to this. My lack of being able to talk is abysmal. Once you have picked your group or groups, you can scroll down to the comment section or the description box where I'll have all the timestamps listed below. And once you've picked your pile or piles, I will see you in your reading. Thank you for being with me. I'll see myself out. Hi there, Pile 1. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the axolotl meme that says, I am seriously at my limit, then this is going to be your reading on whether or not you pass the vibe check. So you've already passed the preliminary one because you're here hanging out with me, and that is a really great vibe to have. So congratulations. And like I said in the intro, there are 0 consequences whether you pass the vibe check or not. There is no true failing. There is just what is aligned and what isn't. So while I'm shuffling, if you want to go ahead and just focus on the cards and set the intention that your vibe be accurately conveyed in this group. And if it is not, let you be drawn to the group that is, so you get the messages most necessary for you. Did I say thank you for being here? If not, thank you for being here. And also thank you for leaving me a like if you enjoy this reading. That is a very helpful way to support me. But if not, I'm just grateful you're here and grateful to be reading for you and grateful you're sharing your vibes with me. So like I said before, 3 or more upright cards means a pass for the vibe check, and less than 3 upright means you didn't. But whether you did or didn't is entirely arbitrary, and it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like Snatch Game. Who's the winner? Who cares? All I care about is that I bring you more clarity and peace and help you feel seen. So if I do that, then I think that's all that matters. So Spirit, what is Pile 1's current vibe? What are their vibes? Okay, so we have the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. We have Strength in reverse. And this is a good time to advocate for the fact that reversals aren't bad. They're just another way to understand things. And if you didn't check out the intro, reversals in this case indicate blocked energies or energies that are imbalanced or that you may have trouble integrating. Pile. Okay, I can feel some of you being like, you didn't shuffle well enough. So I'm gonna shuffle again in front of your face so that you can relax and not come for my neck with peace and love. I already gave them a really good shuffle, but you gotta do that on camera shuffle. And hopefully this will put you at ease. Okay, Pile 1. And I'm sorry if that sounded like I was mocking, but I'm not mocking. I'm like, just trust me. Just trust me. We're here to have a good time. Just trust me. Okay. Pile 1's current vibe, Spirit. Where are they at? Do they pass the vibe check? Okay, we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. What is Pile 1's current vibe? I see why you're seriously at your limit though. Ooh, okay, that came out halfway. So I didn't have that on my bingo card. I need my kombucha to chill out. Okay. Should we give her a little spin? Okay. See, I had 1 upright and 1 reverse. All right, you know what? She's just gonna be like that. All right. And 1 more, please. Pile 1's vibe. Okay, we have the 9 of Swords. Oh, Pile 1. I'm sorry for chastising you about being stressed about how I was shuffling. That wasn't fair to you. I can see you're going through a lot. But with this 3 of Wands on the back of the deck, I don't think you need to worry, but I understand why you are. It seems like your current vibes are ones that there's a lot of resistance and reluctance to be honest about your situation right now. And it seems like you're being really hard on yourself for either not having clarity about where you're meant to head or beating yourself up for having sort of a tough time. I mean, the fact that we have the 2 of Pentacles in reverse, this tells me that just materially speaking, it seems like your routine and your resources are quite imbalanced. I don't know if that is because you are like in between jobs, or, you know, if you work for yourself, like you're struggling, or, you know, maybe you are considering going back to school, or you are in school and things are just kind of chaotic. It may be that you are in like a pretty stable life circumstance, but you yourself are feeling quite unstable. Like maybe you've got too much going on. Maybe you just feel like you're stretched really thin. And I feel like whatever the case is, it's really hard on you. Like in a way where I feel like you're telling yourself it's fine, but I think deep down, you know, like this isn't sustainable forever. And I feel like you're in this challenging push-pull situation where I think a part of you knows that the clarity you're looking for right now is not in your immediate present moment, but that it will be coming. But I feel like there's just kind of this aspect of you where you're having a really hard time trusting what actions are aligned with you and what actions aren't. I also feel like you're trying to balance this fine line between escapism and doing things that bring you joy for the sake of it. One thing that I'm hearing as well is you may have people around you right now that could be really beneficial for moving through this cycle, or detrimental, depending on how they make you feel when they're around you. But I can just see that you've been having a really tough time, and I feel like there's this energy of like, when is there gonna be a light at the end of the tunnel? I feel like you've been overthinking a lot, really struggling to gain clarity, and I feel like you've been unnecessarily beating yourself up on top of it. So no, you don't pass the vibe check, but you do pass just being precious and needing a little forehead kiss. My higher self is sending yours a little forehead kiss. I mean, with the Ace of Swords in reverse and the Nine of Swords in reverse, I feel like rumination is on hyperdrive. So number one, if you don't have some sort of way to get your thoughts out of your head, I think that's one of the first things you need to start considering doing. Like if it's just journaling, because I find that sometimes I can be delusionally fearful about things, and when I see them on paper, I'm just like, oh, like that's kind of silly. And not to say that your fears are silly, but sometimes, you know, we can have very valid fears and then very invalid fears coexisting, and the invalid fears are making the valid fears unnecessarily stressful. And I feel like there is a part of you that is just feeling weak and down on your luck, and just like maybe not wanting to admit some sort of truth in your life right now. And I feel like what's coming through here for sure is the fact that you're not an F-U-C-K up. If you're calling yourself that, you're not. And in fact, the reason why you're not passing the vibe check here is because you're just refusing to accept your circumstances and accept the fact that clarity hasn't come for you yet, and you do have a ways to go before you feel more centered and more balanced. I actually feel you could feel more centered and more balanced right now, right in this moment, by just choosing to let go of the resistance you have to accepting your reality. And if your reality is challenging, name it and claim it. If your reality is frustrating, name it and claim it. If you are really having a hard time, speak your truth. You do not have to pretend like you have it all together. Like you are no less important and no less lovable, whether you are at, you know, at your best or at your worst. I do feel like though there is this numbness that you may be experiencing that you seem to be finding a little bit of reprieve from, either through friendships or just, you know, things that you enjoy. And I feel like there's a part of you that acknowledges that maybe some of this is escapist in nature, but some of it is very necessary to keep you sane. And I feel like you're having trouble finding the balance between what that is. And I guess with this Three of Cups here, it depends for all of you. So the fact that we have this on its side, I'm gonna actually pull, we're gonna be pulling from this deck mostly for what to do about these energies. But for this one, we're gonna also pull from this deck to see what wants to come through here, because I guess it's upright or reversed. But I can just definitely see that the tension that you're feeling internally is beyond what I think maybe you're capable of handling on your own. And if that is the case, I think it's really important that you be honest with yourself and seek support or help or resources if you can. And if you can't, I would really try to at least Google around and see if there are free resources, community resources that are supportive. And whatever you're seeking. I just really think you're trying to handle everything on your own. And maybe it's even just a matter of needing to delegate more and also reconnect with the tools that you've used in the past to support yourself. Because I feel like for a lot of you, you had tools that you used to kind of move you through these challenging times, but maybe you've kind of forgotten about them, like forgotten that they exist, or just haven't felt the desire to use them. And like I said, it may be that you're so overwhelmed and swept up in thought that you've just literally forgotten that those tools exist. So I would, if you have like journals or past tools or resources that really helped you, I would, kind of do a little scan of your memory and be like, was there anything that we used? And if there's something you use that helps, but you don't feel like doing it, that's all the more reason why you need to. But I definitely think the biggest problematic vibe that we have here is this Ace of Swords in reverse, because what I feel like you're doing is you're coming to conclusions about yourself, about your ability to endure, your ability to succeed, however you define that, your ability to handle challenge. And I feel like you are looking at yourself as a failure or as, a flop, and you're not. You are not the mayor of Flop Town. You are not even running for office in Flop Town. Flopping is a part of life, but it's not the totality of what life is. And I think right now maybe you are kind of catastrophizing things, whether justified or not. And I feel like that's leading to even more imbalance in your nervous system, imbalance in your mental body. And I feel like the first thing you just need to know is that it's okay if you're not okay. And also, this is not forever. This is a temporary cycle. And I feel like actually your desire to hold it all together and pretend like everything is fine is making this situation worse on you. It is not a weakness to acknowledge when you are struggling, and it's not a weakness to admit when you need help or you need support. I definitely think that this Strength card is indicating to you that, avoidance of the stressful reality is not going to help you in any way. I feel like actually just admitting where you're at and being gentle with yourself about that is going to be far more helpful than pretending like it doesn't exist. And I feel very, very hot. I need to take my sweatshirt off. So I would be willing to bet as well, things are going to start heating up. Things are moving more than you realize. But I actually think that the cycle is taking longer for you to move through because of your resistance to being honest with yourself about where you're at. And I think maybe what you may be forgetting is that being honest with yourself about where you're at, especially considering you're not doing well, that is not a failure. That is not a moral failure. That is not a sign that you're incapable or ineffective. It's just a sign that you need yourself to acknowledge and see you more accurately so that you can deal with the internal fires going on. I mean, the fact that we had, that meme of the axolotl in flames and just being I'm seriously at my limit, I think you need to acknowledge that instead of just laughing it off and pretending like it's fine, pretending like if your house is on fire, pretending like nothing is wrong is not going to change anything. It's just going to create more harm. And I think that more than anything, it's okay to be where you're at right now. And I think in a lot of cases, you have every reason, I think in all cases, you have every reason to feel the way that you do about your current circumstances. But moving through these circumstances are going to be a lot more challenging if you don't give yourself the space to process what's actually happening and the opportunity to purge all of the pent-up energy inside. If you find yourself crying during this reading or crying in the future, let that happen. Let it move through you. If you find yourself getting angry, if you find yourself getting frustrated, feel that, embrace that. You know, maybe don't use me as your punching bag, but like punch a pillow, you know, maybe not the drywall, but like not the drywall, a pillow, or you know, the boxing thing. So you can tell I am very athletic. Not so much. Whatever the boxing thing is it called a punching bag? I think it's a punching bag. I do feel like there are constructive ways you could channel this energy that you are unaware of because you're resistant to acknowledging that you're in this energy in the first place. So let's go ahead and see how we can shift these energies and what could be effective here. So for the reverse cards, I am using the Powers Essential Oils Oracle. And I really like this deck because not only does it have different chakras, but it also has like trigger statements and true statements. So hopefully these statements will give you the opportunity to kind of see what narratives are running in your head and what narratives you are taking on as truth that may be creating more havoc than necessary. This is just kind of a quintessential situation of like there being real things that need to change or real challenges in front of you, but how you handle them will determine how swiftly you move through this process or how challenging it becomes. Like, you know, obviously, like when you're in an emergency situation, for example, I hope you're not in that case, which like obviously please get help if you are, but you know, it is a lot more beneficial to be calm in an emergency situation than it is to panic. But it is human nature to panic in an emergency. So it takes real strength and dedication to come to a sense of calm. And so I think in your case, that's kind of what's happening here, is a need for you to kind of let go of the idea that the challenges you're experiencing and the struggles that you're going through are an indication of your value or an indication of your worthiness as a human, and rather just, oh, we are in a state where we need support and help and care for ourselves, and you need yourself as an advocate right now in whatever ways that are necessary. And I think that also something that might be really beneficial for you is to pay attention to like the groups of support that you're seeking. And if you find they are feeding into your fear or feeding into like inner turmoil, maybe you try and seek groups or seek sources that bring you a sense of calm. And I know that's easier said than done, but if you think about it this way, your mental energy is going to be used somewhere. And it can seem really challenging to use our mental energy in constructive and supportive ways, but it's like that energy is just going to disempowering you and, you know, beating yourself up and being hard on yourself now. So I think it is a constructive use of your time and energy to just try and focus a little bit more on what could be supportive, what could be useful. So if that sounds like your vibe, let's go ahead and see how we can shift and balance these energies. So, Spirit, how can we shift and balance this Two of Pentacles, please? We have reconnect. The trigger statement is I need to escape, and the true statement is I am present. The root of the issue for you will make itself known. Be open to the information you receive from your body, mind, and environment. Yeah, I definitely feel like this Two of Pentacles energy is feeling a lot more extreme. You know, this sense of imbalance, this sense of running on empty, this sense of being like pushed to your limit. I feel like it is a little bit more chaotic because you're not tuned in to your body right now. And I would be willing to bet that your nervous system is really shot. And so I definitely just like want you to take a second to just do some breathing and just be present in the moment and like tell yourself like, it may not be okay, but it will be okay. Like, I am okay. Because escaping the situation is just going to make it more stressful. Like, you know, you could potentially, like, I'm thinking of the example of a house burning, you know, if you call for help, if you know, start putting out the fire, you know, sure, things might get burnt, but it may stop from the entire house from burning down. And the way that I see this is like burnout. You know, you may be on, you may blah, 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 I cannot talk today. Having so much trouble, I apologize. You may be on a fast track to burnout, And part of that burnout may be caused by, you know, a desire to just escape your current circumstances, and it may be making it even harder on yourself to kind of do things that are supportive and nourishing and constructive. And you may not want to do things that are supportive and nourishing and constructive, and that's all the more reason why you should. Like, when you're depressed, there is nothing harder than basic things like taking a shower, but those basic things make such a huge difference. I mean, they don't necessarily fix the problem, but it's like at least you've cleaned yourself, you've shown yourself a little bit of care. And I think that one of the things that you can do is just feel how you're feeling right now, no matter how challenging that is, and tune into yourself and be like, okay, what can I do in this present moment to be there for myself? And one thing I actually want you to do right now is to take both of your arms and wrap them around yourself as tightly as you can and feel your own embrace. And just see how you feel about that. Like, you hugging yourself and tell yourself, I am here for myself and I love myself. Whether you believe it or not, say it anyway. Or I tolerate myself, or I accept myself. How about that? I accept myself and my circumstances. That is a very self-loving thing to do. And you should still be hugging yourself. I'm still hugging myself. And just feel what your own embrace feels like. And if you want to, pause the video and just sit in this for as long as you need to and just say, it's okay. I accept myself. I accept where we're at. And I am worthy of support. Those are all things that you need right now. And I feel like the more you learn to just give yourself those moments when you feel unbalanced, when you feel ungrounded, like, are you drinking enough water? Are you sleeping enough? Are you getting adequate nourishment? These are all incredibly important things to be able to tackle and handle regular challenges in our lives, let alone even bigger challenges. I also think if you have the opportunity to get tested for like nutrient deficiencies, I would look into that as well, because it could be that nutrient deficiencies are exacerbating some of these issues. I'm not a doctor, I don't know shit about that, but if that sounds like something you might want to look into and you have the resources to do so, please do. But also, if you don't have the resources right now and you are stretched really thin, you know, being honest with yourself about where you may need to draw back and where you may need to conserve and where you may need to be, you know, more cautious until you can get to a more balanced place. Like, that's important as well. And blatantly ignoring the situation is just going to create an even deeper issue. And so I definitely think, like, it's kind of that snowball effect. It's like, you know how when a snowball starts at a hill and it gets bigger as it rolls down? It's kind of like you have the opportunity in the present moment to just face things that are really overwhelming to you. And it may be that you just need time to like sit with yourself before you face them and just kind of regulate your nervous system a bit before you do that. And I would even too, like, I'm not an expert on this, so, you know, Googling like regulating nervous system techniques, like breathing techniques, grounding techniques. They're online, they're available. You're watching this online somehow. Be willing to try things. Be willing to step out of this catastrophic mindset that nothing will help and nothing can be fixed, because you are worthy. You're not broken, first of all, and you are worthy of the tools and resources necessary to give yourself support and help you function. I definitely think the more you are grounded in the present moment and accepting of the reality you're currently experiencing, the less external or the less extra mental drama or mental catastrophizing, the less opportunity it has to make the situation even worse or make it even more daunting and more overwhelming. It's really easy to get caught up in your head and let it get worse and worse when it goes unacknowledged. And, you know, the first step to kind of stepping out of that is to just be present with what is. So what about strength in reverse, Spirit? How can pile 1 shift into a balanced energy with strength? Ooh, okay. So we have sovereignty. The trigger statement is, what will they think? And the true statement is, I navigate through life with ease. Now you must claim your energetic independence. Cut the cords to lower vibrations. It is time to ascend. So I think sovereignty is a very important component of this. It may be that you've just been taught that, you know, I'm hearing Elsa from Frozen in my head right now, you know, conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. And I think, you know, one of the most important things to remember is that anyone who judges you for struggling or having a hard time clearly has their own internalized shame around their own issues that they're projecting onto you. And also, more often than not, we're all kind of going through silent battles or silent struggles that we don't talk about out of shame or out of fear of being judged. And it takes a lot of strength to be honest. And that doesn't mean you have to share with others about your struggles. But, you know, if you're in environments or you're around people where you're encouraged to suppress what you feel, suppress the challenges you're going through, or just pretend like you're fine, pretend like there's nothing wrong, I really think you're being encouraged to recognize that you don't have to take on that mentality. And if you have been taking it on, which it seems like you are, it is not serving you. And it would be a lot more beneficial to let go of it. And to recognize that letting go is as simple as making the choice to do so. And that it seems hard. Like sometimes it takes more than just a choice to truly let go of something, but that's the start of it. And I think, you know, you may be really focused on wanting to be at a place where you're completely fine and there are no issues. And truthfully, with life, you could be completely fine and have no issues, and your brain can still make that an issue and be like, well, what are we doing wrong? Well, what if something happens wrong soon? Like, you could be the most at peace individual on the planet, and still your brain might have a problem with that peace. And there might be things that want to pull you into drama or pull you into, you know, energies that just keep you disconnected from yourself, distracted from your reality, and reinforce self-loathing ideas or ideas that are suppressive to your spirit. I definitely feel like you're being called to redefine what strength is to you. You know, the important aspect of strength is that strength is not in oppressing or controlling others. It's into surrendering to what is and using compassion with others, you know, and compassion is useless if you don't use it towards yourself. If you're compassionate to others but not yourself, that is a real disservice to yourself, and it's not true compassion. So, you know, I love this image of strength because the woman in it, you know, she's literally petting a lion in one hand and handling a tornado in another. And I think that actually just having compassion for one, how you have handled your struggles up until this point, and compassion for the fact that, you know, you're not perfect, and it is normal and understandable that when you are in a state of fight or flight or your nervous system is overwhelmed, you are going to be drawn to solutions that are ingrained in you and that are programmed in you. And it takes strength and energy and effort to be willing to let go of that and choose to do things differently. And I think one thing you need to realize is that you are strong enough to handle whatever you are facing. And it may not be fun, it may be hard, and you're allowed to be pissed off about it and feel like it's unfair and feel like it sucks. Those are entirely valid feelings, and you're allowed to have them. But being discerning about who you share things with, you know, who you allow to give you guidance or share like especially vulnerable parts of self with, you know, being aware of who safe and unsafe people are, and who people are that maybe indulge. You know how there are sometimes friends that you can have that are well-meaning and that you care about, but maybe you indulge in the worst sides of yourself when you're around them? Maybe acknowledging like, okay, I need to have the strength to at least set boundaries here until I'm in a better state of being, or I need to have the strength to say no to things that aren't serving me. Like, for example, if you are already stretched really thin and, you know, other people are guilting you into helping them or trying to use you for their own means, this is where you really need to take your own sovereignty back and say, you know, I will not be someone else's hero. I need to be my own right now. And also realize, like, you don't owe anyone anything, but you do owe it to yourself to be present with yourself and there for yourself. That is a powerful form of self-care and a powerful form of self-love, and you deserve that. So let's see what this Ace of Swords is asking you. And also to learn to start letting go of what people think of you, because first of all, it's none of your business. And second of all, you will continuously rob yourself of the opportunity to live a more authentic life if you continue to uphold others' opinions of you over your own basic needs and well-being. It's hard. It's much easier said than done. I completely understand. But that is something that I'm currently fighting, and I just hope you pinky promise me that you will do the same, because it's worth it. And it's powerful, and that's where true power comes from. And having compassion for yourself when you do make a decision that's maybe not aligned with what you want, if you do regress or you do fall back, because in those moments, we have more opportunities for learning, more opportunities to choose a different thing next time, and to be aware of why we don't want to choose that thing again, and make a note of, okay, when we choose X, we get Y, and I don't like the experience of Y. Next time, let's choose U, and maybe we can get to Z. Does that make sense? You're like, I don't know. I hope so. But let's look at the Ace of Swords. Spirit, how can pile 1 shift out of this Ace of Swords in reverse? How can they come to a state of clarity, a state of truth, and have a fresh mentality that will help them handle the challenges ahead of them? Yeah. Okay, I think that one wants to come out. We have soothe. The trigger statement is, I need to fix this. And the true statement is, I am willing to learn from this. Lift yourself above your life situation and observe as a witness. Understand that you are so much more than the story. Okay, that's pretty validating. Yeah, so what you don't need is to fix things. What you do need is to validate things and just be there for yourself. Like, there are some things that take more than just, a simple action to fix. And, there are some issues that don't need fixing, but just need support, or just need presence as you move through them. It's kind of like the example of, how sometimes, like, let's say if you are talking about, you're venting to someone, you might want to differentiate whether you want advice or you just want a listening ear, because sometimes we don't really need advice, and external advice can be frustrating or invalidating. And when in reality, just what you need is someone to listen to you, and someone to say, like, yeah, I get that. That really sucks. That can be so soothing and validating. Just someone to acknowledge, like, yeah, my situation does suck. And and I will give it to you right now. Pile 1, your situation sucks. And I'm sorry. You're going through it. And I wish that I could do more to help you. And I wish that you would give yourself a little bit more grace, because you deserve that. And I think what you really need to shift into this energy in a balanced way is to just be like, I don't have the answers. I can't fix this immediately, but I can be there for myself in the process. And I'm done putting pressure on myself to figure things out right now in this moment. Like, let's say your house does burn down. Do you think you need to be focused on furnishings for a new house or getting fire insurance? Well, maybe, but maybe not in the immediate moment. Maybe what you need is the opportunity to be in a safe place with your loved ones and cry about what just happened. Maybe you need time to just be gentle with yourself and supportive. I think more than anything, you just need to give yourself permission to not have it all figured out, permission to not know what the next step is, but know that you deserve gentleness and care in the meantime, and trust that the answers will come to you when you're ready. And the more you create space mentally to not have things figured out, and to not allow a story that disempowers you, that creates more fear, that creates more stress to run, the more opportunity your brain has to receive new insight, to gain awareness about your situation, and to come up with creative solutions when you do have the capacity to actually take steps and do things differently. Sometimes we just need to rest and just need to be there for ourselves as we move through this process. And that's kind of one of the hardest things. You can set the intention to relax, but if your nervous system won't allow that, it's not really very relaxing. And so I think that's your biggest challenge. How can I give my nervous system room to breathe, give myself room to breathe, and allow myself that space to just be with what is, and be with myself, and be supportive through that process, and not judge myself for how I respond to this, not judge myself for how I have responded to it, and not judge myself for what I feel I need in order to cope and support myself through this process. That's what's important. Okay, So this Three of Cups, we're going to get one card from this Angel Numbers Messages deck. And this deck essentially will just be showing how this Three of Cups energy is supporting you and empowering you. I do feel like you have wonderful people in your life. And if you don't, those are coming. If you haven't checked out my best friend reading that I just did, you may want to check that out. That might be a great reading to look at. But also, you know, if you are struggling with, you know, knowing what sort of circles are right for you and which ones aren't, we're going to look at both. We're going to see how you can shift this energy to be balanced and how this energy is supporting you. Because positive Three of Cups energy, you know, is connection, community, support, celebration. And I feel like you deserve to celebrate the fact that you have no clue what's going on, but you're being there for yourself and you're not abandoning yourself. That is one of the most powerful things that you can do, is just not abandon yourself throughout this process. And that is a powerful way to show yourself that you are worthy of the support you need, worthy of compassion, worthy of care. I know I keep saying it over and over, but sometimes things need to be repeated until they can be truly understood. So this Three of Cups energy, Spirit, how can it be shifted to a place of balance? And how is this Three of Cups energy supporting and empowering pile one? Okay. So we have receptivity. The trigger statement is, I am guarded. And the true statement is, my heart is open. This is a time for you to receive new information. Open your heart and receive it. So it may be that there are certain people in your life already that would actually be a lot more supportive than you realize and understanding of what you're going through, and maybe actually like relate or have knowledge of resources or knowledge of tools, or just have the ability to be a listening ear for you to vent to. And it may just be your willingness to open up to the right person or trust your intuition. You know, sometimes people won't be receptive. Sometimes they won't get it. But the ones that do, I feel like that can be a very powerful, very special way to, you know, connect with someone. And those are how you find really real friendships. And I think there's a part of you that needs to be receptive to the moments of joy that come to you, because you are going through a tough time. You deserve to be able to take all of that and put it to the side and just celebrate yourself for a night. At least you're still alive. At least you're here, because you know what? We are blessed to have you here. And you may not feel that way and you may not believe that, but there is true, like it is true, and you may not see it, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. I bet it would be a lot easier to see it if you are sharing space or sharing, you know, sharing connection with those that make you feel uplifted and supported. And I really hope you have people like that in your life. And if you don't, I feel like you're being led to those people. But I feel like in order to get that, you have to be open and honest about, you know, what you're experiencing and what you're going through. And it may be like, maybe you don't want to talk about what you're going through, but you want to, you know, tell someone like, hey, I'm going through it. Can we just have a really fun night? Or can we do something that you know, we would both enjoy? Like, I feel like what you really just need is the opportunity to receive loving energy and just joy and truly savor it, because this is a cycle that you're moving through, and it's one where this cycle doesn't need to taint any opportunities for joy that are there. And it seems like right now your mentality may be getting in the way of allowing you to enjoy those moments of reprieve, those moments of those small highs and those small, you know, tidbits of joy. You deserve to feel those. And it is a skill to be able to put things off to the side. But it is one that is worthy of continuing to practice. And the only way you can practice it is by giving yourself opportunities to experience joyful things with people that connect to you and care about you. But let's see how it's empowering you. Okay, we have 12-12. Stay focused on your best possible future and remain optimistic throughout the entire journey. Your angels are right behind you as you turn your dreams into reality. I am focused. So this is actually great, because I was trying to think of the right word, but it is focus. And it is a skill to be present, to be in your present moment and genuinely there and not let your mind wander. I'll use me as an example. I have a really hard time being in the present moment. And a lot of times the present moment is awesome and I'm still like off in la la land or like worried about things. And so one thing that I've been doing is like in my daily yoga practice is just really focusing on redirecting my focus whenever it wanders to just the practice in the present moment, and just kind of practicing like whatever I'm worried about, whatever I'm focused on, like leaving it where it is. And truthfully, I'm not doing a great job, but the intention is there and I'm getting better. And that's the thing, is like these things don't usually come to us instantaneously. We have to work at them, and focus is a skill. Like it is something you have to build. And I feel like in your case, you may need to practice doing joyful things that are solely for your happiness or solely for your well-being. And I think that would be a great way to focus on the present moment. I think the biggest key here is that when you do things that are punishing you for your current circumstances, that does not pass the vibe check. But when you do things that are supportive, nourishing, and soothing for the present moment, for your current self, that passes the vibe check. And you're being encouraged to continue doing those things and not viewing them as frivolous or shameful, but rather very necessary to get through this. It can be the necessary fuel and support that you need to move through it. I'm kind of getting the example of like, you know how in race car races, there are often times where they have to go off the track and get to the pit stop to like have their tires changed and shit before they can get back on and you know, keep going. It's kind of like that, except you don't need to finish it in record time. In fact, you should savor the time that you have and savor those moments and give yourself unapologetic permission to just put aside those worries and give yourself like, and just recognize, I deserve to feel good right now. No matter what's happening, I deserve to enjoy these people that are with me. I deserve to enjoy this drink in front of me. I deserve to enjoy this meal. I deserve to enjoy this craft or this activity or this little show. I deserve to enjoy my present moment, and whatever is happening that I'm worried about, it will still be there when I get back. And sure, there can be unhealthy tendencies for escapism, you know, when we do that too much, but I don't think you're doing that too much. I think you're doing it not enough. And I think that you're justifying why you can't like give yourself those moments of reprieve, because you're not present with yourself and you are kind of just like focusing on what's wrong and indulging like your worst fears. And so that's taking up all of your energy. So then you don't have time or energy to do the things that would uplift you a little bit. And so there's a need for you to be present so that you can be focused on, okay, what is supportive, what is nourishing to me, and what isn't. And there's also a need for you to see through your linear mind, because I think that you know deep down everything's going to be okay and you're going to move through this and you're going to be fine. But it's hard to see that when you're in the thick of it. And that feeling that you're gonna be okay, and that because I know you are, pile one. I double pinky promise you're gonna be okay. And you're fucking doing great. You're doing amazing, sweetie. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you for not giving up on yourself. I'm so proud of you for being honest about where you're at. And I'm so proud of you for giving yourself a hug, because I know you did that. And if you didn't, you better do it right now. Anyway, I almost did a shameless plug there, but I'm like, no, that's not the point. If you want to subscribe, you can, but it may not be in alignment with your highest good, and that's valid. But this Three of Cups energy is giving you the opportunity to see, you know, what moments of joy, how you process moments of joy and how you allow yourself moments of joy. And it's giving you the opportunity to have more focus in the present moment and give yourself those nourishing energies of just connection, love, community, support, understanding, being valued, being heard, being seen, and just not having to carry those things alone. Like, even if you don't talk to people about it, just knowing you're not alone through this, and knowing that, you know, someone has your back or somebody values your presence, like, that's powerful and important. And I think you need to give yourself permission to just be in space with people that, you know, that get that and, you know, support you. And I think if you don't have those, I would look at, like, for example, support groups, community opportunities for like things that you're interested in. or community opportunities for healing. Like an example that I'm thinking of is there's an acupuncture place near me that has community acupuncture sessions, and they're a lot cheaper than like individual acupuncture sessions. I think they're like, you know, like $40 or something like that, which is not super cheap, but at the very least you're connecting with people who are also desiring healing, and who knows, you know, the types of connections that you can make. But also just looking into free resources around you, you know, free opportunities for connection. There's always things happening that we may not realize, and it's just a willingness to be a little resourceful and see what's out there. You know, if you know what doesn't work, try doing something else. It may not work either, but at the very least it gives you more wisdom and awareness around what doesn't work, and also just gets you in the habit of doing things differently. It can be really hard to get out of what's familiar and what's normal, even if what's familiar and normal is incredibly uncomfortable. A lot of times the changes that we make to bring ourselves, the changes that we know we need to make, are a lot harder to do in theory than they are in action, because once we start doing them, you start to realize how good it feels to make the change, and it becomes less of a conscious task and more of a just it becomes second nature. And so, you know, maybe the more you prioritize connection with people that care about you, connection with people you care about, you know, savoring those moments of joy, whatever brings you joy. Maybe it's just connecting with yourself and connecting with your animal companions, or connecting with people online. It doesn't have to be in person, you know. A lot of my friends are scattered all over the world, and you know, just because we may not be able to share physical space, we can still share space with each other, and that's special and that's important, and that can be very beneficial as well. So don't doubt the multitudes of opportunities that there are for you to just have a present moment of reprieve or joy, or just a break, an ability to exhale. It's very important for you right now as you move through this. So, okay, let's see how you can shift this Nine of Swords energy. I think one thing is just acknowledging that your mind is running rampant, and if you can't handle that on your own, finding support and resources for you. Okay, we have evolution. The trigger statement is things will never change, and the true statement is I attract only what is for my highest good. The imbalances in relationships that have been keeping you down are no longer needed. You are ready to transform. Yeah, I feel like that's a big thing. Like, you are not the person that you were last week, you're not the person that you were last year, and you're not trapped where you are. In fact, I feel like you're passing the vibe check in the sense that you've recognized you're seriously at your limit and something needs to change. And sometimes we have to just be brought to those limits in order to realize something needs to change. And so giving yourself grace for that. And you know what? Pay attention to whose voices you have running through your head, because more often than not, you may be taking what someone else told you and taking it as truth. So like, for example, if you had a parental figure, or, you know, a teacher figure, an authoritative figure that told you couldn't do it, or you're not enough, or, you know, you're gonna fail, seeing that as not the truth, but as a distortion, and also as a challenge to be like, oh, that's what you think? Well, let me prove you wrong. I'm gonna move out of that. You know, evolution, evil, it's just love. And I think really what you really need is to just be loving and gentle with yourself, and also ask yourself, where can I add more love into my life right now? Is it through giving myself the grace to just be with what is? Is it through having the courage to step outside of what's known and try something differently? Is it in trusting that the universe does know and does have my best interests at heart and is leading me towards greener pastures and brighter days? I do think it is, but it requires a willingness to trust and an understanding that the universe can't do everything for you, you know? The universe can lead you to a new door, but you have to be willing to walk there. You know, it can't pick up and carry you. The wind might blow you and assist you in the right direction, but you know, I think that you already have concrete ideas of what could be beneficial for you, and it takes a willingness to be honest with yourself about what those things are, and have the courage to do something differently. I think you'll be shocked at how much that will help your energy shift and also just reinforce to you how worthy you are of being there for yourself and being in environments that are supportive and nourishing for you. So with that being said, pile 3, we're going to go ahead and finish off with some final guidance cards, and we also have some crystals here that could be supportive and nourishing for your journey. So I guess we're going to start with the crystals first. We have wolfenite. I've never heard of this crystal, so I don't know, but I do feel like you need to howl at the moon a little bit. This journey has only just begun. Wolfenite can travel through your past, present, and future and opens up communication with the spirit world. It also aids in past life recognition, helping you to see soul contracts that you've made in this lifetime, facilitating the karmic reunion and completing a cycle once the lesson has been learned. Wolfenite is a powerful past life healing stone, resolving any issues that need to be faced and regaining magic lost in past lives to be used in the here and now. So I definitely think that this is a beautiful sign that the universe is leading you to people, situations, and opportunities for you to move through things. I feel like you're working through really powerful cycles that are beyond just you and like that are even generational in nature. I feel like you're breaking through a lot of powerful things, and that's why you're experiencing a lot of resistance, but that's why you deserve to be present with yourself through this process. To, number one, just consciously acknowledge how intense these challenges are and validate that for yourself. Like, I can validate, like, you're going through a lot and this is very challenging and you deserve to give yourself grace. You deserve to be kind to yourself. You're doing awesome. We also have red jade. Unleash your inner warrior. Red jade is a stone of power, able to release anger in constructive ways that solves problems. Filled with qi, known as life force in Chinese culture, red jade enhances passion, vitality, and strength. Take action more decisively. Red jade enhances your courage, protecting and inspiring you to move forward in your day-to-day life. Use red jade when you are looking to have exponential results, whether it's with your finances, business, or on your physical health. Good luck is bestowed onto you. And I also heard that you can substitute this for red jasper. Red jade might be harder to find, but what do I know? I don't know anything. We also have Tanzine aura quartz. You guys got some really specific crystals. So one thing I will say is you don't need the physical crystal. This is gonna sound a little wee-woo-y, but if you want to pray to the crystal angel of each of these, you can still receive healing energies from them. So praying to them to just support you and nourish you and give you those energies could be useful and beneficial. And if you think I sound silly, that's fair, but it also wouldn't hurt you to try. Anyway, cosmic alignment is here. Tanzine aura quartz brings equilibrium to our multidimensional states, melding mind and body for spiritual balance. With indigo rays vibrating high, this stone heightens the ability to see and communicate beyond this world. Tanzine aura quartz gently opens your crown chakra, creating a channel between the divine and your body. Made from a rare metal, indium, this crystal brings mystical qualities to a higher understanding and one's metaphysical abilities. You are more powerful than you think. And I think a more common stone you could try as well for this is labradorite. If that sounds right, take it. If it doesn't, discard it. But let's go ahead now and look at your other guidance. We have, surrender fear. Let go of the fearful stories you are telling yourself. Stay in the moment, focus on solutions, and celebrate every baby step forward. So I think just moving through this reading, you deserve to celebrate. Just that you've come to a greater resolution and a greater understanding. We also have weasel. Be silent, pay attention, and simply observe with your eyes, ears, and physical feelings what is happening inside and all around you. Yeah, I think that's why grounding and being present is going to be so beneficial, because there may be people or energies or experiences that you haven't been receiving the healing frequencies from because you haven't been open or receptive to it. But on the flip side, you could also be in environments and situations that are taking from you, that are draining you, that you may not be realizing because you're not being present with yourself. So just being observant, I think, will actually be really beneficial to you. And finally, we have work through your fears with new moon in Scorpio. So I definitely think that this is a powerful opportunity for you to just feel the fear and do things anyway. Feel the frustration and do what is nourishing towards you. To be there for yourself even though your circumstances aren't ideal, because that's what's going to lead to more ideal realities and also help you recognize what ideals are rooted in reality and what ideals are creating unnecessary stories that don't serve you, and you know, creating unnecessary fears that are building upon the ones that already exist. I feel like this is a powerful opportunity for you to step more fully into your own sovereignty, step more fully into your own authenticity, and be there for yourself in ways that you would have abandoned yourself in the past, and to realize like that is a true act of self-love. That is a sign of healing, and that is a sign that, you know, you're growing and that you're powerful and you can handle more than you realize. And I think that this whole situation is proving that to you now. I'm proud of you, Pile 1. I know you've got this. I feel bad leaving you here, but I know you're gonna be okay. Feel free to rewatch this or check out another pile. But if you're leaving me here, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background, because that's one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me, show appreciation for my channel. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already. Shout out to my little notification squad. If you guys want to be part of my notification squad or want me to see your comments, I usually see comments when I first upload. And by doing that, you just click that little notification bell. You can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. You can check out my social media. You can check out other videos, especially ones with extendeds. But that's all I have for you guys. So thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. Everything is going to be okay, and you're already doing great, and I know it will continue to get better. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the picture of Barney saying commit tax fraud as your meme, then this is going to be your reading. Excellent choice in meme, by the way. This is going to be your reading on do you pass the vibe check or not? As I would like to remind all of you, there are 0 consequences if you do or don't. We are just here to check the vibe and see how we can bring you further into alignment with it. As I said in the intro, if there are 3 or more upright cards, then you do pass the vibe check. If not, then you don't. Like I said, there are 0 consequences. Either way, we are getting messages and hopefully bringing you to a place of greater clarity, greater peace, greater awareness, and hopefully help you shift any blocked or imbalanced energies. So, while I'm shuffling, if you just want to take the time to set the intention that this deck accurately convey your vibe, and just focus all of your energy on the cards as I'm shuffling. And I heard you get extra good luck if you like the video, but I don't know, you'll have to test that out and see and let me know. But of course, it's okay if you don't. You already passed the preliminary vibe check because you're here watching, and that's an excellent sign that you have good taste. And congratulations for that. We love that for you. Let's give these a few more good shuffles. Just focus on pile 2's vibe. 2 more. Okay, pile 2's vibe, Spirit. Do they currently pass the vibe check? What are their vibes at the present moment? Okay, we have the 8 of Wands. What is pile 2's current vibe, please? Okay, that came out and went back in, so we're gonna leave it. Pile 2's current vibe. We have the 2 of Cups. Pile 2, that's too many. Pile 2's current vibe. Woo! We have the Death card. Have some beautiful vibes here. We're passing the vibe check. That's exciting. But like I said, it doesn't matter, even if you didn't. Like, ooh, okay. And finally, we have the Knight of Wands upright and the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. Cool. I like this vibe. And it's quite interesting because it seems like this isn't just, it seems like your vibe is being influenced by someone special in your life, or someone that is coming into your life if you haven't met them yet. I want to start with this Eight of Wands, but it seems like you've gotten this major increase in energy recently, or you are doing better at taking action, even if your internal state is quite chaotic. This is a really interesting Eight of Wands because, as you can see, there's a tornado here. And it could be that you know, your current life is very hectic and there's a lot going on, but it seems like you're still handling things and doing the best that you can to take action from that place. I also feel like you are doing a really good job at prioritizing what needs your attention in the present moment and what can wait till later. I also feel like this period of time is really testing your resolve and testing your ability to do things you thought you couldn't, take steps you thought weren't possible, and face situations and opportunities that maybe you wouldn't have taken in the past, or maybe you wouldn't have considered in the past, that you're realizing like, oh yeah, I am capable of this and I can do more than I thought. I also feel called to tell you with this Eight of Wands, like whatever action you haven't taken that you're feeling really pulled towards, now is definitely the time to do it. I feel like there's definitely this intuitive, inspiring action happening where you don't have to overthink things as much. And I feel like if there is a lot of internal chaos, despite you taking action, I feel like you're being encouraged to continue not giving that much of your focus or bandwidth, because I wonder if that's just unprocessed or unresolved energies that you're kind of actually letting go of through this process of taking more action and thinking less. It makes me think of my 4th grade teacher, who I'm setting down the beef with her, but she used to do this thing, and it reverberates in my brain and it fills me with rage every time, because she used to say it in the most nagging tone. But she had this sign in the front of her classroom that was like, "Don't listen to Nike. Don't just do it. Think about what you're doing." And as someone who overthought things even as a child, it was not a useful phrase for me. And I wonder if you have the same thing, or if you are learning to overcome overthinking tendencies and like analysis paralysis. We forgive my 4th grade teacher. You know, I imagine it was not easy teaching a bunch of 10-year-olds. And we let it go. We let it go. You're like, doesn't sound like you're letting it go. So I'm trying. That's what matters. And you're trying, and that's what matters. And I think you're actually doing an excellent job. I feel like despite the whirlwind of chaos around you, you're holding it down quite well. And I think the abundance of action and opportunities for action that you have in your life at present are assisting you in not overthinking and not doubting yourself as you move through this process. I really like this energy. Now, as for the Two of Cups, if you don't have someone special in your life, and this doesn't have to be a romantic interest, though it very well could be, if you have recently gotten together with someone, if you have recently started to have feelings for someone, seeing someone, or if you have a really close friend that you've been spending time with or have reconnected to recently, one of the things that I'm seeing here is that they are providing you with a valuable opportunity to just share love and communion with someone who gets you and someone who sees you. It seems like this is a huge green flag for you to continue to open your heart in whatever way feels comfortable. And if you don't have anyone like that in your life, whether it be a friend or a romantic interest, I will say I did just do a best friend reading, so you may want to check that out, especially if you're interested in the more friend route. But it seems like if you do already have a partner, you and them are at a really happy wavelength right now. It seems like you guys have either reached a point where the both of you just feel really seen and understood and are cherishing the time spent with one another, or maybe you are stepping into awareness of, oh, I want to have something deeper with this person. I want to make this choice. It seems like part of this vibe is not only you, but you know, someone who sees the value in you, loves connecting with you, loves spending time with you. And if you have a hard time knowing who this person is, a hint that I would give you is that time seems to dissolve when you're around them. And what I mean by that is, it's like 3 hours could feel like 30 minutes with them. And that's funny. That's how my readings usually feel. I'm like, it's like an hour and a half, and I'm like, that felt like 45 minutes. Usually because you guys are so awesome and it's so fun to spend time with you. But I definitely think that if you have been having reservations or fears about opening up to this person more, I feel like you're really being encouraged to embrace what's before you and embrace the opportunities to connect with them. And I feel like if you haven't met anyone and you're manifesting this or trying to bring in someone, this is a very powerful sign that you are bringing that energy in. And one way in which you're doing that is by doubting yourself less. I feel like even if the doubt is still there, you're just not giving it as much energy and as much focus. It's kind of like you're drowning out the hoopla and focusing on what really matters. And I just have to say, it's really awesome to see this, because I feel like you are empowering yourself in ways where you are no longer allowing yourself to beat yourself up, bully yourself, or hold back in life because you're afraid of being rejected or unworthy. You know, you're seeing the reality of, I know I'm worthy, and if someone can't reflect that back to me, that's not my fault. That's not a reflection of my worth. That's just a reflection of what they're unable to give and a reflection of a mismatch in alignment. I definitely feel like there is someone that is coming into deeper alignment with you. Maybe you are considering asking this person out, or maybe you are considering moving this commitment forward, or maybe you're just considering putting yourself out there in that way. No matter what, it is aligned with you. And I do think that if you've been feeling like maybe it's time but really worried about it, I think this is your sign that it's time. I also just feel like you have a potent ability right now to really connect to whoever is around you. So I would be discerning about who you spend your time with, because if you are around particularly negative people, or if you're taking in particularly negative media, that might feed the internal hoopla more than necessary. But I think one thing you're doing to help that is by, just focusing on the action you can take in the present, which is awesome. Now, with the Death card being here, I definitely feel like you're going through a powerful form of transformation where you're really cutting ties to what no longer serves you. This Death card is very powerful because I feel like you are letting go of what isn't you anymore. And obviously, that's much like that's a very broad way of putting it, because they're like an onion, you have many layers. And as you shed layers, you discover new parts of self. But I feel like you're embracing this transformation. And I feel like this transformation is greater than one that you're consciously creating. I feel like it's twofold. It's partially transformation that you've wanted, but also it seems like the universe has been priming you for these transformations. So, like for example, if there are chaotic things happening outside of your control, or like people are falling away, or you're not feeling the urge to reach out to certain people or do certain activities the way that you used to, especially if they don't really feel good anymore, or they just don't feel aligned with you, that's definitely a sign that you're shifting and evolving. And I feel like you're cutting out things that don't serve you anymore, cutting ties with people that don't have that aren't balanced in terms of reciprocity. I feel like you're cutting ties with people that only take from you, or cutting ties with the parts of you that make you feel guilty for having boundaries, for wanting to connect with people that are capable of giving and receiving the same level that you are. I also feel like this death energy is also internal, where you're really challenging yourself and what you felt to be true, and realizing like, oh, like I believed this for so long and it was holding me back, but actually I don't have to hold on to this belief anymore, and I feel so much better letting go of it. I wouldn't be shocked as you move through this transformation, you have this this feeling of like release and freedom, and also this like, oh, it's all fine. I'm fine. Everything's okay. I feel like whatever has been leaving your life is a welcome reprieve. And it's making more room and creating more space for you to just feel excited about life again and see pathways that you couldn't before. Like, you know, one thing I like to think about is if I feel like there's only one option or the other, there's usually a third or even a fourth or even infinite possibilities that I haven't considered. And so I think that you're cutting ties with certain timelines actually that you thought you were stuck on or that you thought you were relegated to, and realizing, no, actually I have the power to change things. I have the power to do things differently. And let's talk about this Knight of Wands. You're so brave and you're gaining so much more courage. And I feel like things you thought you could never face, you are actually more than ready to handle. I think this Knight of Wands is particularly powerful because we have this fierce dragon here. And I think what you're realizing is the challenges before you and the challenges that require you to grow beyond what's familiar and what's normal are not only giving you the strength necessary to continue exploring the unknown, but you're also realizing so many more options are available to you. So many more experiences are available to you. And you may be feeling like you feel younger than you used to, or you feel like you have more energy than you used to. I also feel like if you're considering traveling, or if you're traveling right now, this is a really powerful sign that wherever you're traveling or the things that you're doing while you're traveling are very beneficial to your growth right now, and they're helping you face internal fears you may not have even realized you had. I think you're also just realizing like the fears that you gave so much power don't have to have power over you if you don't let them. You may still feel the fear, but you can still do things anyway. And I see this just really beautiful energy of you having more zest for life and realizing like, I can go after my goals. I can achieve more than I thought, and I don't have to accept less than what I deserve. I definitely think that if you've judged yourself in the past for actions you took or the lack of actions that you took that And these actions specifically would be actions that reinforce negative ideas about yourself, about how you can't do things, or about how you're not worthy of achieving certain things, or you're incapable of overcoming certain hurdles. I feel like you're finally gaining the courage to face them and also just challenge those beliefs. And even if you don't get over those hurdles the first time or the second time, you're still getting up and doing it again. There is this energy of resilience and this energy of I'm not going to give up no matter how much I am afraid, no matter how much I doubt myself. And I'm sorry, I have to give a Shrek example, but the scene where where Shrek and Donkey are rescuing the princess from the dragon's castle, they don't do things by the book. They kind of go in there, and I'm trying to say this is eloquent, well, not eloquently, I'm just trying to summarize it. They go in there kind of balls to the wall, and they do things completely differently than how they traditionally should. And I feel like that is very significant for you, because I think what you're realizing is I don't have to do things by the book. I don't have to do things the way others have done them. And if you think about it, like in the movie, all those that did it by the book and how they were supposed to did not make it. They were the dragon's barbecue. So I think what you're realizing is that maybe other people have implanted these ideas that you couldn't do things a certain way, or that they're just not going to happen for you because it didn't happen for them, and because they didn't have the courage or the creativity to look at things in a different light. And I think what you're realizing is that there is a method to your madness, and that you deserve to indulge it more, because you have creative ways of resolving issues and of doing things differently that will lead you to similar outcomes that other people, might be trying to reach as well, but they're doing them in a more traditional path. You don't need a traditional path. You just need the path that aligns with you. It's like you don't need to go by someone else's process. You need to go by yours. And I think you're realizing like, wow, when I actually just let myself do things in a way that makes sense to me, do things in a way that feels natural to me, I can not only get to the outcome or reach the point that I'm trying to reach a lot sooner, and then I also realize why the other process doesn't work for me. I definitely think that there is a powerful realization here that there's nothing wrong with your process. There's nothing wrong with how you take action, and you shouldn't be afraid of the things that excite you and the things that also give you a little bit of fear, the things that challenge you, because both of them are leading to this beautiful, powerful transformation that you're having. And I feel like if anything, you just need to know, like, keep having confidence in yourself, because it's leading you to powerful places. And if there's any quote that I think fits for you, it's fortune favors the bold. And I think that is the energy you're stepping into. Now, the only blocked energy you have is the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, and I think this makes a lot of sense. I feel like the only thing you're struggling with right now is impatience, and also maybe fears around all the work that you're putting in not being worth it. And I think it's really important to remember that, number one, the results of inner work don't often show themselves until after we've integrated those lessons, but also there are intangible gifts that come from the shifts that we make that we may not always consciously recognize. I'll use myself as an example. One thing that I've been doing more is chanting mantras, and doing that for quite a long time. And originally I thought like maybe I was doing it wrong or that it wasn't working because I wasn't feeling any different. But then I realized I was feeling less internal, my inner dialogue, my fear, like my intense fears weren't potent. And in fact, I could barely feel them at all. And I was like, oh, it is working. It's just rather than feeding a positive charge, it was neutralizing negative energy within me that was allowing me to generate more positive energy, if that makes sense. And so I feel like the results that you're seeing now, or that you're feeling now, are reinforcing the changes that you're making and dissipating internal barriers towards your actions and towards the things that you want to go after. But you may be feeling like, what if this is all for nothing? Or what if all the time I've invested ends up not being worth it? And, you know, a lot of these energies are really fast. The Knight of Wands and the Eight of Wands, these are two very fast moving cards. And I do feel like one thing you need to remember is that it may take time for the material to catch up with the changes that you're making, but that doesn't mean that they're not happening. I definitely think you may be struggling with impatience. Like I kind of just see like you're taking action towards, like, metaphorically speaking, you're grabbing all these different puzzle pieces and you're getting the puzzle pieces ready in order to start fitting them together. But it's like you want to find all the puzzle pieces or have the ones that fit together right now. And you're maybe forgetting that it might take time to figure out which puzzle pieces fit together, to figure out how things are going to unfold in the earthly realm. And I just feel like all the work that you're doing is so worth it, but the results of the work that you're doing and the results of the changes that you're making are going to take longer to manifest than the feelings that you're having, the excitement that you're having, and the internal urges and the boldness that you have within you that's moving you forward. Those energies that are carrying you, those are much more instantaneous than the results of those energies. So I guess the biggest thing is that you may need to be a little bit patient with how these changes show up and how they cement themselves. So, like, for example, you know, if you're going through a really intense process of changing your routine, you know, the benefits of changing your routine may take time for you to really see changes. Like, you know, I'm thinking of examples of how, like, it takes 21 days to form a habit or allow a change to cement itself. It may be that you may be worried that these energies won't last forever and that you will just fall back and regress into old patterns. But I think what the universe is kind of saying here is that these energies and this motivation is giving you the drive and the spark to get started. And for long enough that these things will start to become habit, and you will also realize how you feed off of these changes. Like, it'll feel so good to keep doing things this different way, this more authentic way. And you will realize, like, oh, like, I don't have to worry. I don't need to see results instantaneously. Like, they're coming. And I definitely think that the only challenge here is impatience. And I think that's a great challenge to have, because things are moving forward for you. And I feel like the universe is really, I just heard this very specific phrase, and I don't even know if it makes sense, but match your steez. Take that as it resonates, discard it if it does not. But I do feel like with the Seven of Pentacles, if you are afraid of investing even more time and energy into this, or taking more risks, or taking the time necessary to go back and redo certain things, or give yourself the time and space to really prioritize the changes that you've been making, I feel like that will really help you with the Seven of Pentacles. Because I think the hardest thing is that you just may not be seeing results yet, or you may not know what the result of certain actions you're going to take are. But I feel like there's kind of this energy of needing to be patient, and also recognizing, like, the outcome of these changes varies depending on what the changes are. And also, you may not immediately receive the benefit from these changes. It may take time for them to manifest and materialize, especially if these changes are related to financial things, or it's like, for example, you know, like when you invest money in the stock market, you don't necessarily see, you know, great gains immediately, especially if they're long term. You know, like it takes time for you to get a return, and you might lose money in the process before you gain more. Like, and I don't really know much about that stuff, so take that with a grain of salt. But it's kind of one of those things where, you know, you may feel like doubting yourself because you just don't know if these changes are worth it. You just don't know what it's leading to. And I feel like, you know, the worst thing you can do is allow that impatience to sabotage the progress you've already made, and create seeds of doubt in you that cause you to fall back into old patterns and old ways of being that just aren't you. And even if that happens, I feel like you'll have the opportunity to be like, oh yeah, this is not me at all. And you'll be able to continue making the changes anyway. But I definitely see, like, the hardest thing right now is letting the universe do its work, and allowing, you know, Earth to catch up with all the powerful changes that you're making. So I'm going to use this angel number messages deck for these 4 cards. And I'm going to use this oracle deck to look at this reversed card. So this deck is going to clarify how each of these vibes or energies are empowering you and supporting you. And this deck will serve as a way to bring the Seven of Pentacles energy into balance. So if that resonated, hi, welcome to your reading. I really like these vibes. I'm really happy for you. And if you haven't taken the time to celebrate yourself, I think you should, or just at least give yourself a little pat on the back, because you're doing great. So this 8 of Wands energy, Spirit, how is it empowering pile 2 at this time? What is this 8 of Wands energy supporting them in? Ha, another 8. Your talent for setting goals and reaching goals is like no other. You are self-sufficient and capable of achieving your ambitions. 8 is representing the ebb and flow, the infinite loop of creation. I am successful. So yeah, I feel like all the action you are taking is leading you to greater success. And I think it is important to remember that success is a subjective definition. And I feel like there are already so many ways in which you're highly successful and you haven't even realized it. If you have very narrow definitions of success, I would encourage you to redefine that, just so that you can give yourself credit for all the progress you've already made. Like, it takes a lot of effort and intention to actively choose to do differently than what feels familiar and comfortable. And I feel like this 8 of Wands energy is supporting you in taking and making tangible action that is leading to powerful results for greater goals. It's like, I feel like you're accomplishing smaller goals that are leading to greater goals. And I also think you're realizing that your creative energy and also your life force and the things that you're truly passionate about, there is no limit to that creative energy and that energy of inspiration and that energy of inspired action. It's really just a matter of you being able to trust that when it's not there, there's a reason for it, and that when it is there, it's worth acting on. And I think that the more you're acting on it, the more you're realizing the value of your own process, your own system, your own chaos. And I feel like the actions that you're taking right now are leading you to the places you want to be and greener pastures beyond the imagination. I feel like I'm hearing, you have no idea how high you can fly. And I think you're really being led to what was always meant for you, but what maybe you didn't realize you were worthy of, or what you didn't realize you were allowed to receive and allowed to take action towards. Let's see how this Two of Cups energy is empowering you at this time. Ooh, okay. So we have any positive changes or projects you are considering right now will be well worth your while. Expect that your power to manifest and create will be heightened. I am expanding. And you have a great ability to take in and process information on both conscious and subconscious levels. Your curiosity is endless, and your desire to dive deep into a variety of subjects will bring you immense awareness in the world. I am intelligent. So one thing that's really cool here is I feel like whoever this other person is that is impacting you, I feel like they are expanding your understanding of what life is and what life means for you. I also feel like they are someone who is an intellectual equal and someone that is very stimulating, maybe literally, which we love, but figuratively in the sense that they give you a lot of inspiration, give you a lot of ideas, and also expand your awareness. Like, I find with a lot of my friends, when we spend time talking, like, we're able to build upon each other's ideas and almost like color in parts of each other's mental pictures that we couldn't see without the other. And it's almost like this person is helping you, and this energy is helping you be open to positive external people, external ideas, things that the universe wants to bring to you, whether in the form of a person or an experience that's really meaningful to you. I feel like they are helping you see your value in terms of how you see the world, and also helping you expand into greener pastures. Greener pastures just keeps coming in. I'm not quite sure why, but also, and green is the color of the heart chakra, and with 33 in numerology, not regular math, it reduces to 6. 6 is the number of love, and I definitely think that your understanding of love is changing, and I feel like if this is a person, they are giving you creative inspiration and giving you the energy that you need to really keep moving forward. It's like adding more fuel to your fire that is really beneficial, because sometimes we run out of our own internal reserves, and I feel like this person is bringing you the opportunity to just have awareness that you wouldn't have otherwise, and also value you in ways that maybe you haven't. Maybe you're the type of person to really shit on your own intelligence, or downplay your skills. And I feel like this person will really help you see the value that you bring to not only everyday situations, but the value that you bring to them. And I feel like that's especially meaningful, because it's one thing to bring value to others, but when you bring value to someone that you highly value, that mutual reciprocity and that realization of like, oh, like this is mutual, like we both value and love and care for each other. And maybe it's not love yet, but I think it could be. And I think one thing you're realizing as well is there is an intelligence to your intuition. I feel like you've always had a feeling about this person, or always had a feeling that you and this person would reach this point, or always had a feeling that this type of person was out there, even if you haven't met them yet. And I feel like, even especially if you're in the group where you haven't met this person yet, the expansion that you're doing is leading you to them. And I think that you will realize there's a greater universal intelligence that you are already tapped into that is leading you where you need to go, and you don't have to overthink it so much. Your intuitive mind is leading you in ways that are allowing your conscious, logical mind to see like, oh, I don't have to be in charge of the ship all the time. Your conscious mind is really great for working out logistics and things like that, but when it comes to powerful changes or following certain pathways, it can be better to let the intuitive mind lead. And I feel like maybe this person has a strong intuition, or just has a perspective of you and of the world that is just really beneficial for the changes you're making and the projects you're working towards. And yeah, I feel like this is just very supportive and very nourishing for the person you're becoming. And I feel like you're providing the same value for them. Like, this is a win-win outcome for the both of you. These vibes are very beneficial for not just you, but for them as well. And I feel like if you've just really been looking for a person to see and understand parts of you that maybe others haven't quite understood, or haven't even realized are there, like, this person is really going to do that, or do that more often. So like, if this is already a partner in your life, I feel like you guys are going to be prioritizing more time, more quality time with each other. And maybe just expanding the ways in which you connect and creating more opportunities for connection. And like, for example, you know, if this is someone that you've been pushing away, or someone that you've been, you know, uncertain of, or just like uncertain of opening yourself up to, I think you're kind of realizing like, oh, you know, there's a lot of value here. There's a lot of, this is not all bad and scary. A lot of this is really empowering and exciting, and that might be scary. But I feel like what you're realizing is that maybe you've been holding out on this, or like pushing this away for far too long. And even if you've had this person in your life for quite some time, you know, maybe you've realized, like, even if you're together in a committed relationship, it's like, oh, well, you know, we can connect even more deeply, and maybe there are certain walls that I've had up that I don't need anymore. And like, this person, I can trust them, you know, with my heart, and I can trust that it's okay to, you know, show them more of myself. I really, really like this. But let's see how this death energy is supporting you. Pile to Spirit, how is this death energy supporting them? Beautiful. Okay. They were like, step aside. Master number. Okay, so I love that these cards are mirrored. We have 13 and 31. Your approach to life is an effective mix of both practicality and imagination. Your mind is stirring with creative ideas, and you have the organizational skills to manifest them to life. I am disciplined. So I definitely think this is a death of what this death energy is bringing you, powerful opportunities to grow and ground the routines and patterns of behavior that are leading you to become the person you want to be. But also, I feel like you're realizing in certain areas where something wasn't going to happen until you started to reach for it, or there could have been certain people or certain just belief systems or energies or ways of being in your life that have been unsupportive for your goals, and maybe you weren't ready to let go of them yet. But whatever discipline you have taken to start changing this, I feel like that is what this death energy is helping you with. It's helping you manifest things into reality and create the life that you envision for yourself in practical ways, in ways that are also inspiring. And I feel like there's a mixture of reinvigorating old ideas, being inspired by new ones, realizing that you can combine the two, and also starting to see the practical steps to get there, and realizing how you play a role in that. Like, what is the universe's role and what is up to you? And I think you've been seeing what is up to you and where those things are, and making those necessary changes. And so I feel like this death energy is definitely just making you more effective in achieving your goals and becoming the person you want to be, and stepping into a sense of empowerment and a sense of authenticity, unlike that which you felt before, where you really start to become unapologetic about what has a meaning for you, about what's important for you, and about the type of life you genuinely want to live, rather than worrying about what other people think, worrying about whether you'll get there or not. It's like, you're learning to let go of the idea that you won't, and just realizing the sooner I start taking action, the sooner I'll start seeing results. And I really just love this energy. I definitely think that the universe is matching your efforts. And even though you may not see all of it immediately, you will. And I think that another thing you need to remember as well is that in this process of transformation, there are times of forward momentum and times of regression. And I feel like these times of regression are becoming less and less frequent, because you are no longer needing to lean into those old parts of self, because you're realizing they don't have anything for you there. And the more you're leaning into these new parts of self, these new ways of thinking, these new ways of being, the easier it becomes to apply this higher level of discipline to your life, because it doesn't feel like a punishment. It feels like a gift, in the sense that you're giving yourself the time and space necessary to achieve your goals, and not let a lack of focus or a feeling of guilt or a desire to martyr yourself to others get in the way of those goals anymore. You're realizing that you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You are worthy inherently, and the things that you value, the things that are important to you, are the most important things that you should be focused on and be moving towards. And other people may not understand that, and they don't have to. It's about what matters to you, and realizing that those that are meant to be aligned with you will be supportive in those endeavors and support the positive changes you're making. They won't want you to regress into an old version of yourself that doesn't feel like you. And those that do, you'll just kind of realize, oh, this wasn't a reciprocal relationship. This was a imbalanced relationship that, you know, fed them more than it fed you, or maybe validated ego aspects that you don't need anymore, because you realize, like, oh, these lead me nowhere but to frustration, to disappointment, and they keep you stuck in a loop of yearning that you don't need to yearn for. It's like that. I feel like things that you've been yearning for, you realize not only can you have, but you can have them in terms of just embodying the energy required to receive them, and also by recognizing the tangible steps you need to take in order to make them a part of your reality. This is quite badass energy, I must say. Okay, how is this Knight of Wands energy supporting pile 2, please? How is this Knight of Wands energy? We have the number 18. You are both open-minded and open-hearted, and your ambition is to leave the world better than you found it. Ensure that your goals are aligned with the collective need and with the highest good of all. I am kind-hearted. So I definitely think that you are realizing that, like, you are not doing anything wrong by facing and by following the paths that are truly meant for you. I feel like with this Knight of Wands energy, I feel like you're taking on less crap than you used to, and taking this crap on as truth, you know? People, especially people that don't work on themselves, are very guilty of projecting onto us how they feel about themselves, you know? And like, for example, people that are insecure about their looks often feel the need to call other people ugly, you know? People that take a lot from others and are unwilling to give are the first to call someone selfish. And I feel like what you're realizing is your earnestness and this genuine kindness within you to help others does need to be tempered with an awareness of what serves you and what doesn't. And, you know, maybe some of these dragons you're realizing, like, these aren't dragons I need to fight or need to serve. I just need to move to what actually serves me. I feel like you're learning to protect your heart more in ways where you're open to that which uplifts and supports you, and you're closing off to the energies that drain you, and also the energies that leave you feeling not good enough, and that reinforce this idea that you have to prove yourself, or that you need something outside of you to prove your worth. I also feel like you have goals that are greater than just yourself, that align with the greater collective, like this card says. And I feel like you're realizing, you know, the challenges you have to face and the fears that you have to face in order to step up in those ways are worth it. Because even if you get knocked down, even if, you know, you do get burned, it's for a greater good. It's not just selfish in those endeavors. And I think there's like kind of this interesting balance here where you're learning both how to be selfish, not in a negative way, but in a way where you're not neglecting your own goals and the pursuit of them, but also realizing, maybe how the collective itself can be selfish, and seeing, okay, these experiences, these people, like I'm thinking of an example of like a boss that expects you to put more than 40 hours in without overtime, and then says that you're letting down the team and letting down the company. You don't owe the company shit beyond what your contracted hours are. And so you're realizing like, oh, I don't need to do this, and I don't need to take your shit anymore. I feel like you're realizing kindness is not weakness, and your kind heart does not have to be taken advantage of, and you don't have to allow the distortions of others to stop you from taking action towards what truly matters for you. I do feel like some of the chaos of the past was trouble between determining and discerning, what action is supportive and what action isn't. And I think you're realizing like, I'm not responsible for the reactions of others. I'm not responsible for how people perceive things. I'm not responsible for the distortions of others, but I am responsible for my own path, my own life. And I am responsible for facing the challenges and the hurdles that will lead me to the greener pastures that I want to go to, that will lead me to a greater level of accomplishment. I feel like that's what really matters here. And I think you're realizing that, you have a better idea of how you can serve than others do. And realizing that you don't need other people to validate whether that's true or not, even though I'm doing that right now. All you need is your own belief in yourself. And then knowing that when we follow what is most authentic, we are serving others, because we're stepping into an energy that most people don't have the balls to step into. Most people walk around in life strangers to themselves because of fear, because of wounds, because of whatever. And that's not to judge or shame them, but when you step into greater authenticity, it will bother those people. When you empower yourself, it will bother those who benefit from you, who benefited from having you serve them instead of yourself. It will bother people who are comfortable, who are happy seeing you be small. And I feel like you're starting to realize this Knight of Wands energy is showing you what actions are worth pursuing and what aren't. And also realizing that some of the things you might deem selfish, like for example, going on a trip or taking time to do things that are just exciting, you realize aren't selfish, because they're helping you build up internal reserves and giving you rest, giving you opportunities for exploration, adventure, curiosity, things that are very important to you and your being. And I think you're realizing like you're the only person who can say yes to what matters to you, and you don't need anyone else's permission to do so. I definitely think also you're realizing that you have more energy than you thought you did, because you're giving less of it away to those who just fed off of it and didn't really truly benefit from it. It's like you were tying people's shoes that knew how to tie their own, but kind of sat there and cried and pretended like they couldn't. And I feel like you're directing them to a link to Velcro shoes and being like, if you can't tie your dang shoes, then get these. This is not my problem anymore. I'm not tying your shoes. It's kind of that. You're tying your own and setting off on journeys and adventures that you didn't have the energy to before, because you spent so much time dedicated to putting out fires that weren't yours. And I think you're realizing that if you're lending all your energy to those people and lending all your energy to that rather than what truly matters to you, what truly supports you, then that's not really kind-hearted towards yourself. And I think that this energy is bringing you like reinforcement and just having conviction in the action is powerful to take. And speaking of, I just flipped on the back of the deck and we have 333. You are being called upon to use your spiritual gifts as a light worker, assisting all of humanity. Live your truths and be a positive light to others. I am powerful. And I feel like what you're realizing is there may be a lot of answers you don't have, but you're not going to get them if you don't if you don't start exploring, if you don't start seeing where these internal nudges are leading. And so I think that you're having a lot more compassion and grace for yourself, and also starting to realize how good it feels to just choose what's right for you rather than choose to do things out of obligation or guilt because someone else said you had to. So let's see how you can shift this energy into balance. This Seven of Pentacles in reverse, Spirit, how can Pile 2 shift this energy into a place of balance? What is this blockage and imbalance trying to show them? Okay. That's interesting. So we have the theme of receptivity. The trigger statement is, I am guarded, and the true statement is, my heart is open. This is a time for you to receive new information. Open your heart to receive it. So yeah, I definitely feel like you're being encouraged to continue opening up to what life is showing you and being open to receiving more. I feel like life just wants to give you more positivity, more love, more energy, like more balanced energy back. Like, you know, if you give a lot, if you share a lot, I feel like life wants to give more of that back to you. And if you've been in a place where you've been holding back more out of fear that you won't get what you receive, what you deserve to receive, I feel like you're realizing, oh, like, it's about where I put this effort and energy in. It's about where and with whom I share this with. And it's about more than just being a giver all the time. And I definitely think as well, there's a part of you that isn't really trusting your intuition, isn't really trusting where the universe is leading you to. And that's why I'm so glad that you came to this reading today, because I feel like this reading is really trying to show you that you can trust yourself even more than you thought you could. And if you're patient with this process, you will see the rewards. And part of it is, like, some of the rewards you have to be open to. You have to give yourself the opportunity to receive them. And I also feel like some of the information that you're looking for is in external sources, but not the external sources you're used to going to. So, like, for example, if you're used to Googling all your answers, you know, and I'm not saying this is true, like, this is just a metaphor. If you're used to Googling all your answers, well, whatever you type into Google, you're getting the response that someone paid the most to have on top. And now AI is doing things where the answers you're getting might not even be true. So you're like, okay, I'm going to stop Googling things and I'm going to go to a library and I'm going to look at books instead. Or I'm going to ask this person what they think because, you know, they're more aligned with the person I want to be, or just something like that. I feel like overall, you can trust, like, you've already planted a lot of powerful seeds that are already growing. And I feel like there's a part of you that just is having trouble trusting in these changes that you're making and the new person that you're becoming. But the reality is that you already are this new version of yourself, and you're continuing to step into it more deeply, and you can trust. Like, I feel like you're worried the rug is going to be ripped out from underneath you, or that, you know, the walls are going to implode on you. And that's just not true. If anything, the universe is encouraging you to break down those walls further and reject that narrative that things can't work out for you, or that things won't work out, or that it won't be worth it, because I feel like it already is worth it, and you're going to continue to receive that. I feel like the biggest thing is just not closing your heart off to what has meaning to it, and what continues to fuel your inspiration and your inner drives, because that being open-hearted is what allows you to take in more from what's outside of you. And, you know, when you're only running on what's already inside of you, you know, if you're stuck in a particularly negative state, or, you know, if you're exhausted, or if you're lacking inspiration, it can be really hard to just rely on yourself for that. And so I feel like the universe is really encouraging you to be more open to where you're being led, and let go of what you think is happening by being led there, and just be open to what it might be showing you instead. I hope that makes sense. But the biggest thing is you can trust this. And I feel like your impatience is rooted in a need to know that these changes are worth it, a need to know that everything will work out, a need to know that you are headed in the right direction. And I feel like Spirit is saying you should, not that you should, but you can already trust in that. You are. You're doing the dang thing. You just have to have more trust in yourself and realize, like, this new story that you're writing for yourself, this new life you're stepping into and that you are taking the lead on, there has to be a level of trust and a level of believing is seeing rather than seeing is believing. It's like you need to believe and trust, and the universe is going to catch you. It's rather, instead of waiting for the net to be there, trust that the net is there. Trust that the things you are needing are there and will be supported. And trust that the more you open up, the more you will receive exactly what you need if it does exist outside of yourself. And the more you will have the opportunity to explore your inner world and what your inner world has to offer you, and how that inner world can co-create with the external world, and how those things can both work together when you're not shut off and closed down to possibilities and different ways of being, and just the willingness to trust in what you can't see yet. You know, you will feel what is there before it arrives. You will feel what is true before it's confirmed. And it's almost this, and I guess like this is a process that the universe is helping you with. It is just having the trust in yourself to actually take the action that is aligned with you, and see the value that comes from that, not just from a material receiving place, but just from how much better it will feel and how much easier it will be for you to live your life as yourself and do things differently and take certain risks and make changes and have the courage to face certain challenges. I definitely think that the more you open up to life, life will open up to you. And the more you open up to yourself, the more you'll realize the version of you that you're afraid of falling back into doesn't even exist. It never truly did. It was just a costume and a mask that you were wearing, that you were convinced was you, and it never was. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and finish this reading off with some final guidance. So I have a couple of different guidance cards. We're gonna start with crystals that could be supportive to your vibes. So the first one is Amethyst Phantom Quartz. Amethyst Phantom Quartz fosters prolific energy and opens the crown chakra to channel creativity in all forms. Individuality is encouraged and uniqueness and expression is embraced by this stone. Amethyst Phantom Quartz instills confidence in your creations and urges you to share your talents. Using intuition as a powerful resource, Amethyst Phantom Quartz connects you with your spiritual team to convey ideas in a way that will stand out. Do yourself a favor and show the world what you've got, and show others as well. I also feel like Amethyst Phantom Quartz is quite specific. I believe like a phantom would be kind of like this. Like this is a Lemurian phantom, and if you see there's kind of this like inclusion that's dark. I don't know. I'm not the brightest crystal guy in the box, but I think regular amethyst could be beneficial as well. But we also have jade, wisdom, abundance, good luck. Jade is a highly prized and sacred, a wonderful stone for protection and healing. Known as a dream stone, jade will stimulate messages and channel them into your dreams when placed on your third eye chakra. The ultimate good luck charm, and also I don't think you need to place them on your third eye. Like if you just have them around you, I think that's beneficial. The ultimate good luck charm, jade promotes prosperity in every aspect of your life by opening the heart chakra and boosting your ability to receive. Yep, what did I say? I told you. Life wants to give you more. Wealth is nothing without your health, and jade is a reminder of this true abundance, amplifying good fortune of your vitality. Remember, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Yeah, I feel like you're just stepping into more of yourself and just more of what life has to offer. And it's like, I feel like what you're realizing is the biggest thing that was holding you back was you. And the biggest thing that was holding you back were the illusions you were holding on to that, you know, told you things about yourself that weren't true. But we have surrender to silence. In contemplation or meditation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. So yeah, I feel like if the external chaos gets too much, I feel like that, or the internal, well, maybe the external and internal chaos, I feel like, I guess especially if it's external, then surrendering to silence will be a beneficial way for you to just remember that, like, you don't have to get swept up in that. It's like, you don't have to be part of the storm. You can be in the eye of the storm. You know, the eye, and in the center of the eye, it's much calmer. So, yeah. But we also have surrender stubbornness. If you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with your others and yourself. And I feel like you're already doing that, and I feel like this is just encouraging you to continue to. And instead of thinking there's only option A or option B, recognize there's option C, D, E, F, the rest of the alphabet. There are infinite options. We also have octopus. Practice shape-shifting by altering your appearance and mannerisms. I also feel like this could also be guidance to start embodying or visualizing yourself as the person that you see yourself becoming, as the life you picture yourself having. Like, how would the version of you envision, like, how would they make breakfast? How would they talk to others? How would they share themselves with the world, you know? And if you're like, well, that person is much more confident, then ooze that confidence now. You know, if that person has less inner doubt, and then when doubt comes up, just say, no, I don't have that. I'm this version of myself. I know it sounds easier said than done, but try it. And finally, we have look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius. So I definitely think that where you are headed is very powerful, and I feel like you may not be able to see like the puzzle pieces falling together right now, but everything is going great. You passed the vibe check with flying colors, and truthfully, like, you're doing amazing, sweetie. I'm very happy for you, and I think that you've got nothing to worry about because you're already doing great. Just continue trusting yourself and trust where your own intuition is leading you, and trust the nudges your heart has, and allow yourself to open up to those and share those with the world. So pile 2, that's where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That's one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for my channel. But if you would like to do that in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my merch, you can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ASO10 for 10% off. You can check out my other videos. Shout out to my notification squad and my intro squad. We didn't have much of an intro this time, but that's okay. Yeah, you can just, you know, like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. All that's really helpful to me, so thank you to everyone who does that. But that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me read for you. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 3. Welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. If you guys chose the meme that says it takes a little treat to tame a beast, welcome to your reading, and thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a little treat. I have mine. It is cold brew and lemonade, which sounds like it wouldn't be good, but it's actually really, really good. So we are going to be looking at if you passed the vibe check or not. If you skipped the intro, I want to remind you that there are 0 consequences for not passing it. It's a very arbitrary marker. We're just checking to see, you know, where you're at right now, and no matter what, wherever you're at is absolutely okay. We just want to help you shift more into the truest vibes that are authentic to you. And hopefully it can bring you more clarity, peace, and eliminate any doubt or distrust you have within yourself or about your path right now. So while I'm shuffling, if you just want to go ahead and focus your intentions as I'm shuffling, and just maybe set the intention that these cards reflect the most accurate state of being. Obviously, if the vibe that I described does not resonate, then this is not your reading, and you may want to try a different one. But essentially, if you get 3 or more upright, you pass the vibe check. If you get less than that, you do not. Like I said, 0 consequences. But let me just remind you that you've already passed the preliminary vibe check because you're here, and that means you have excellent taste. So congratulations. I love that for you, and I love you for being here. So that being said, let's go ahead now and see, Spirit, what is pile 3's current vibe? Do they pass the vibe check? So to start, we have the 5 of Wands in reverse. Does pile 3 pass the vibe check? Pile 3, definitely seems like you, like, it's taking a lot for the cards to come out, so it definitely seems like you've been holding a lot in. And even I was about to burp, and I didn't, which is so against what I usually do. We have the Queen of Cups upright. I've already mentioned Shrek in this reading, so why not? You know, better out than in. Pile 3. Do they pass the vibe check? What is pile 3's current vibe? We have the 3 of Swords in reverse. Pile 3's vibe. Woo! We have the 3 of Cups upright. And one more. Pile 3, Spirit. Do they pass the vibe check? You do, by the hair of your chinny chin chin. Pile 3. Oh, you are so sweet. And though you do pass the vibe check, in some ways you don't. And that's mainly because I think you are being quite unfair to yourself. Starting with the Queen of Cups here, I definitely think that you are someone who prefers to keep the peace, prefers to be generous of spirit, and I can tell that you have a really sweet, genuine heart. I can also see that you're probably the type of person who likes to look at the brighter side of things, or even when you're really going through it, you channel that energy into others and into connection, which can be wonderful and healthy when it's in balance. But I can see with the 5 of Wands in reverse and the 3 of Swords reversed that there are definitely some unresolved energies within you stemming from conflict and heartbreak. With the 5 of Wands in reverse, it could be that you are, what's the right word? Suppressing maybe necessary conversations or avoiding confrontation with certain individuals because you don't want to cause conflict. Or you haven't processed something from a past conflict. Especially with the 3 of Swords in reverse, I definitely feel this kind of catastrophic energy within you where, you know, a minor conflict could feel like the end of the world, or you could have certain abandonment wounds where you feel like if you're not constantly giving, if you're not constantly submitting to the will of others, that somehow you're doing something wrong and people will leave you. And I don't think that's true. I definitely think that there is an aspect of you where you're really good at looking at the lighter side of life, and you're really good at channeling destructive energy into positive activities or, you know, positive ways of being. And we love that. That's beautiful. That's amazing. But there's definitely a part of you that has gone unseen with this 3 of Swords in reverse and the 5 of Wands in reverse. I feel like there's a part of you that's maybe holding on to guilt for being a human being and being incapable of pleasing others all the time. And I think it's important to remember it's not your job to please everyone. And, you know, in this Queen of Cups, we see a pregnant figure. And, you know, maybe you are, which if you are, congrats. But for the vast majority of you, you're likely not. I'm actually, oddly enough, kind of interpreting this belly as like swollen energy in your lower chakras, especially when it comes to the sacral and the solar plexus. It seems like there's a lot of pent-up energy that maybe you've been avoiding, just around maybe disappointment, betrayal, or the fear of betraying or disappointing someone else because you feel the need to speak up about something or be fair to yourself. I feel like the first thing you need to know is how loved you truly are. Like, you are so valued in so many ways, and your heart speaks for itself. I think that you have allowed the negative projections of others to define your worth and create illusions around your sense of self. I can definitely see with this 3 of Cups upright that you have a lot of wonderful people in your life, and there are a lot of people that value you. I can also see here that you are seen as a generous person, and you are a generous person. It's not just a perception, it's a reality. You give to others because you have an abundant heart and an abundant spirit. You are generous with your time, you're generous with your energy, and you're very caring. And I can see here that people who take advantage of that nature may use that vulnerability to their advantage, because there is an aspect of you that is obvious to those who are really good at taking from others, that you are someone who gives endlessly and is not likely to speak up for themselves or to defend themselves. And I can definitely see here that when these people create problems for you, or are upset because you're not giving enough, or, you know, are projecting their own wounds onto you, you definitely take that honest truth, and that it's like a moral failing on your part, or that you've done something wrong. And maybe these things are really old. Like, maybe you have a lot of good people around you, but there's just these lingering wounds that you haven't really addressed, and they're kind of festering. But one thing that I'm hearing is that you have nothing to feel guilty for, and you are not responsible for the negative emotions of others. And I can definitely see here that there is a part of you that is deeply uncomfortable with conflict and emotional pain. Like, you're a healer by nature. You want to make people feel good. You want to uplift people. And I just want to give you a hug and just like tell you like, oh, like, it's okay. Like, you're so baby. Like, I just want to like swaddle you and be like, it's okay. You're allowed to have human needs and put yourself first and do what you need to do in order to get there. And you know, this is kind of not a running theme in the readings, but I guess a running theme and just in general when I've been reading, that there is this like taking on responsibility for things that actually have nothing to do with you. Like, for example, it's a lot harder. I'll just use myself as an example. If you saw someone comment on a video telling me how terrible of a person I was, and that I've probably, I don't know, just saying a lot of mean, hateful things, do you think that you would believe that? I mean, I guess if you did, that's your right, but I would be willing to bet you'd be like, it sounds like that person's going through something that doesn't have anything to do with ASO. I feel weird talking about myself in third person, but I completely understand the tendency to take in negativity and believe that it's a genuine reflection of yourself. And one thing I can see here is that you are a highly empathetic person, and you are someone who maybe has messy boundaries at times, because you do have a desire to just take in the pain and wounds of others and heal them, or at the very least release some of that burden that they're feeling. And the example that I was using with me is, you wouldn't see that and think it's the truth. At least I hope not. But you do that for yourself, where if something like that happened to you, I'm not using this as an example, but if someone came up to you and started saying really like hateful things out of nowhere, you would take it on as truth, because you have a very soft, sweet, vulnerable heart. And I think that one of your main drives in life is to not create more harm and pain, because you know what that's like. And I wouldn't be shocked if for some of you grew up in households where there was a lot of arguing, or, you know, you had this kind of role of peacemaker. And I think you're very good at lending your heart to others and being a gentle listening ear and just being a source of comfort and nurturing. But I can see that source of comfort and nurturing is really neglected within yourself. And I feel like you really beat yourself up unnecessarily for things that have nothing to do with you. And so the thing that I'm seeing here especially is that you do pass the vibe check, in the sense that you are so wonderful and sweet, and like, you're definitely not giving these like negative energies within you all of your time and focus. But I do feel like there is this lingering guilt and doubt, like, what if I do something wrong? Like, what if I hurt another person? Like, what if this is the truth about me? I feel like you don't give yourself enough credit for how generous and caring and loving you are. And I feel like if you could see a mile away someone doing that to someone else, it's time for you to start to see how others could do that to you and leave you vulnerable and holding on to energies that have nothing to do with you. With the Three of Cups here, I can definitely see that I feel like for some of you, you've already shifted out of like the people that you would have had conflicts with, like that's past energy. And I feel like you have a really good circle around you. But there's this like lingering fear of what if, what if this happens again? What if they see the same thing? And I just feel like called to say, like, see what? Because that's not the truth of you. The people around you see how loving and caring you are. And I think if you had any criticism from your friends, it's that they wish that you saw how wonderful you truly are. Like, you are a blessing to people's lives, and you don't deserve to hold on to and carry energy that's not even yours. Because I feel like some of this guilt that you're carrying is actually guilt that was projected onto you by others who couldn't be reciprocal in their relationships with you. And I feel like you took on like these failures of whether they were friendships, whether they were colleagues, whether they were relationships. I feel like you took that on as you were responsible for that failing. You couldn't keep it together. And it's like, it's not your job. It takes two to tango. And I think that it's beautiful that you have this focus on not allowing these negative energies within you to consume you or to stop you from being your beautiful self. But I can see that there's this lingering guilt and just this shame that you don't deserve to carry, and that's not even yours to carry. I do think that what you need to work through is the wounding that was caused when these events happened. And for some of you, if these aren't past events and these are current events, there's a part of you that maybe knows. There may be people that you need to set better boundaries with. There may be, you may need to be more selective with who you spend your time and energy with, especially because if you don't know this about yourself already, you are very vulnerable to the energy around you. And if you're around a lot of, negative energy, around people that are, very self-focused, you may not even realize how much of an impact it has on you until after the fact or until it blows up in your face. I feel like more than anything, you take an unnecessary amount of responsibility for the emotions of others and for the misconceptions of others. And I feel like one thing that's important to remember is people can project shit onto you all they want, but nothing can taint your heart and nothing can taint your spirit. And you have real people around you who see that, and that deserves to be celebrated. And I feel like you are celebrating that. And I feel like you may be learning what reciprocity actually looks like in friendships, or just realizing like it is in your nature to be a giver, and that's not a bad thing, but you can be more discerning about who you give to and why, especially when that nature of giving is coming from a genuine place of I have plenty, I want to give to others, like I feel good, my cup is full. And when it's a compensation, so the first thing I just described is like a healthy form of giving, and then an unhealthy form would be, there's unaddressed things within you, unaddressed wounds. And so as a way to compensate for that, rather than dealing with yourself, you're giving of yourself to others in order to feel better about yourself. That would be an unhealthy way of doing that. I can see that you shifted that quite a lot. And I feel like if you're already moving, I feel like there's two groups here. Some of you, like a lot of this chaos, conflict, heartbreak is in the past, but you are still kind of in the past in the sense that you're in a better place and you know that, but something feels off, something feels wrong. And there's just these lingering feelings of guilt and shame, maybe especially like when you're trying to go to sleep, like your mind will replay certain things and you'll just be like, man, like you'll just feel really guilty for it, or it will just hurt and you'll try to push it away, or you'll like beat yourself up about it. or you're currently in this situation, in situations with people that you need to either have conflict with, and conflict doesn't have to be like mean, you know, you can have conflict resolution and it be very mature and understanding, like, and sometimes that can bring people closer. But I feel like you are definitely, if you are in the group that I'm currently describing, there could be this sense of like, well, if I bring up this problem, they will leave me or they will hate me, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to lose that, and I don't want to lose them. And I feel like one thing you may be forgetting is that, you know, most people are reasonable individuals. Like, contrary to what it may seem like, most people are reasonable individuals, and conflict is not the end of the world. But for people where a minor conflict, like, it is the end of the world, and they do cut off contact or push you away or end some sort of relationship, whatever kind that may be, that's definitely not someone who is safe to keep your heart with. That is someone who is not very reliable or consistent, and likely has their own issues that they're dealing with that are beyond the scope of what they can handle, and it's not your job to handle it for them. So I definitely think for some of you, you may be avoiding having difficult conversations or doing what's necessary to set boundaries. But I feel like for a lot of you, this is in the past, and you may just feel like, you know, why don't I feel fully like settled? Why? Like, it's almost just like there's just some doors that haven't been closed yet, some cycles that haven't been closed out. But for the other group, I feel like it's like you are really focused on, you know, what you can do, but, you know, there may be truths that are coming to you around, you know, people you need to set boundaries with, or ways in which you need to change how much of yourself you're giving to others. And you may just be kind of like, I can't hear that, la 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 la, nope, everything's good, everything's fine, I'm fine. And in a lot of ways you are fine, you are doing great. But the real core theme of this is that in the pursuit of tending everyone else's hearts, your heart has gone a bit neglected. And I do feel like your heart is really beating itself up for things that are not its responsibility. And there's also a need for you to remember that you are human, and that human relationships are complex and messy, and how they end or how they shift is not entirely your responsibility. And like, it's okay for things to be complex, but I definitely think that there's this need for closure, or this need for a shift around how you nurture yourself. But more than anything, like, you do pass the vibe check, you sweet soul. I just think that you may have a hard time caring for yourself the way that you care for others, and I feel like that's what Spirit wants to bring into this reading. So for the upright cards, I'm going to use the Angel Number Messages deck, and we're going to see how these upright cards are supporting you and empowering you. I definitely think you have wonderful people around you that really care for you and are there to give good advice, so I love that. And then we'll use a separate deck to look at how we can shift these energies. I definitely think part of the work for you is learning to withstand the discomfort that comes from difficult conversations, learning to accept what you can't change, and accept the fact that, you know, there are just some people who are going through their own things, and you may not be able to be, it may be more harmful than helpful to be a support system for them through that. And also, it's important to remember, it's not your job to be a support system for everyone in the world, and especially when you're neglected in the process. I just have to tell you, I love you. Like, I see your spirit. I see you, pile 3, and I love you. Like, I feel like kind of crying right now, but like, you don't deserve to be so hard on yourself. And I feel like you accept the negative projections of others, because whether you consciously realize it or not, you do that to yourself. You project negative things onto yourself. You beat yourself up for minute flaws that everybody has, or beat yourself up for not achieving this otherworldly aspect of perfection that doesn't exist. It's like, how, like, you may even shame yourself for having like very human feelings of frustration or anger. And it's like, buddy, you're allowed to have those. You deserve to have those. That's part of the human experience. It's part of the emotional spectrum of being alive. And if you only allow the positive feelings and deny and deflect the negative ones within you, that's one, an example of toxic positivity, and two, an example of how you're hurting yourself, because you're kind of showing yourself, oh, I'm only worth, my value is in what I give to others and how I serve others. My value isn't in just the inherent fact that, like, I deserve to exist and I'm a person and I don't have to just be giving of myself to the detriment of myself. I feel like there's, and like I said, for a lot of you, I feel like you've learned some of those lessons, so it might feel like I'm sounding like a broken record, which I kind of often do in these readings, because I gotta make sure I cover my bases, and I'd rather say the same thing multiple times than miss an aspect. But I feel like you just forget that you're human a lot, and even though you have this incredible capacity to be there for others, I think that your inner world is really asking you to be there for yourself more. I also feel like there's a lot of psychic phenomena that you may be experiencing, and if you feel like there are certain people from your past that have really been on your mind recently and like really reinforcing old wounds, I think that you could be picking up on them thinking about you, but I also think that you could be recognizing, like, it could be your emotional body, your energy, kind of bringing to your awareness what's gone unaddressed within you and like what's still festering. It's not the greatest word, but it fits. Okay, but let's look at these empowering energies first. Okay, so this Queen of Cups energy, Spirit, how is this supporting pile 3 on their path to becoming their wholest self? How is this Queen of Cups energy supporting and nurturing pile 3 at this time? Beautiful. So we have number 1, you are a self-starter with very innovative ways of creating opportunity. Your determination and endurance are powerful and will get you through rough times and reach success. I am innovative. Yeah, I feel like there is a part of you that doesn't realize that the power that your heart has can also extend to yourself. And even though you are a tremendous source of support for others, you can also be for you. Your heart has ingenious creative solutions, and I would be willing to bet that you could be getting a lot of inspiration right now from dreams and from psychic insights. I also feel like you have a really powerful ability to transmute and transcend wounds without even having to share them with others. It's like you have a powerful ability to come to conclusions and free yourself from your own chains and the things that hold you back and hold you down. I feel like this Queen of Cups energy is also, I hope a lot of what I'm saying is stuff that you've been telling yourself or stuff that you've been feeling but just maybe haven't articulated consciously yet, because I do feel like your compassionate nature is starting to ring alarm bells and be like, hey, we need some of that compassion for ourselves. And I feel like also, no matter what you're going through, you have this ability to cultivate a sense of home and belonging within yourself that is really challenging for most people. And I think that these two, this 3 of Swords and this 5 of Wands, are making that hard because of this unresolved guilt. And I feel like one thing that you need to know is that you don't need external closure in order to release something. And you don't have to be on good terms with someone in order to let go of that situation. Obviously do what aligns with your heart, but also know that, like, your heart is powerful. And I feel like this Queen of Cups is just a huge aspect of your nature. So it's not necessarily like a temporary vibe. I feel like this is just a vibe that is inherent within you. And so I feel like one thing you need to know is that, Like, your heart is always carrying you, and there are beings that maybe you do comprehend, that, or maybe not, that love you so much and are supporting you and nurturing you through this process. But I definitely think that you underestimate how much you can do on your own. It's just about giving yourself permission to be unapologetic about what you will and won't accept, and to be firmer with yourself about abusive talk towards yourself, accepting abusive, behaviors or words or actions coming from others, like, to not see that as a reflection of yourself. There's a need for you to let go of the mirror that others hold up to you, and to start seeing your true self in the mirror and see how precious that person is and how powerful that person is. I can see you've already moved through a lot. Like, I'm hearing you've walked through the valley of the shadow of death, and you've come out different, but still yourself, in the sense that, life and life experiences happen, but your heart has always remained true, and it will continue to. Your loving heart, your loving nature is something that is going to carry you throughout your life. And the better you get at tempering that beautiful heart with a strong self-esteem and a strong sense of what is okay and what isn't, the easier it's just going to be for you to move through life and not take, negative experiences outside of you so personally. But also, one thing that I'm hearing as well is that, it may not even be personal relationships. It may be like you're online and you see people suffering, and that makes you really sad, and then you take that on as like a burden. Like, there are people suffering, and there's not much I can do about it. I feel like one thing that spirit might be, and your heart might be wanting you to see, is that you could have innovative solutions for bringing more healing to the world that maybe you just haven't, because you don't have enough confidence in yourself yet. And so I definitely think that practicing self-compassion and doing more in terms of just being your own cheerleader and just praising yourself, I think could be very powerful ways for you to realize, like, number one, you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, but you can impact the world in powerful ways. And you have to trust that the ways in which you're called to serve and the ways in which you're called to give are enough, even if someone else doesn't think so. It's not your job to prove that to them. It's your job to do what's authentic to what's in your heart. And I think, maybe one of the loops you've been trapped in is needing acceptance from others, or needing the validation from others that, yes, this is the right thing, no, this is the wrong thing. Because I feel like you've said no to things that were right for you, and I feel like you've said yes to things that were wrong for you, because the people that you were asking either didn't understand you well enough or didn't have your best interests at heart. And I feel like that's a big thing too. People can be like very genuine and just wanting to help, but sometimes we don't have what someone else needs. I feel like one thing that you're starting to learn is you have what you need already. And I feel like if you're seeing the world outside of yourself as like, I feel like there's a part of you that's still just kind of trying to prove yourself in ways that you don't need to. Like, the proof is in the energetic pudding. Like, you are worthy of and perfect for everything you're trying to achieve, the direction you're trying to go in. And I do think that one thing you need to remember is that people who are disconnected from their heart, people who have a lot of blockages in their heart, people who are not very loving, they will not understand your nature, and they will think it's fake because they don't have that within themselves. And that doesn't mean they won't have it forever, but it's really kind of innocent. It's just, someone not being able to understand the nature of someone else because it doesn't make sense to them, and that's not their nature, So I think you need to remember, like, you're very powerful and your heart is very powerful. Don't mistake your kindness for weakness. Others have, and I think you've learned lessons from that, and you will continue to. But just know it takes a lot of strength to be kind. It takes a lot of strength to have your heart be open, and this heartfelt nature of yours is what's going to continue to bring you to new horizons, give you new opportunities, and just help you grow and evolve even more into this beautiful human that you are. And it'll just be an even more expansive version of that. Okay, what about this Three of Cups energy? How is this Three of Cups energy supporting pile 3? We have 00. Angels ask for your attention. Open your eyes, listen, and think about everything that is happening. Trust your intuition and follow their guidance without any delay. Focus inward through meditation and prayer. I am observant. So I definitely think that no matter what group you resonate with, whether these, conflicting energies are in the present with present people, or if they're in the past and you just haven't been able to let go of them, I think there's a need for you to trust your own intuitive hits about people, and just trust yourself more. Like, you have a very keen level of observation. And I think that if you've already achieved like a very balanced friend group, or achieved like a state where you are finding ways to have joy in your life, you are experiencing joy in your life, you're experiencing connection, you have wonderful people around you, I feel like fear might be getting in the way of you opening up more and like fully enjoying this. And I feel like you're being called to see the difference between fear and intuition. I say this a lot, but anxiety screams, intuition whispers. And so, when someone is telling you how wonderful you are, and then you tell yourself like, no, that's not true, or they're just saying that, you need to call that out and be like, no, actually, I'm willing to receive that compliment. I am wonderful. I am generous. And I also think that you have a better gauge of people than you realize. And I think you also need to trust when your internal red flag system goes off. And I feel like if that system isn't going off, you need to trust that this person is safe. Like this group is safe. I definitely think this Three of Cups energy is supporting you and helping you trust yourself more and trust your own intuitive insights, and realize like you don't need physical proof of the things you intuitively feel, and you don't have to explain your observations to anyone. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anyone more insight. You can just do what's right for you simply because it is. You don't need permission, but I will give you permission right now. Hey, you have permission to choose yourself. I also think that there is no end to the amount of people that would love to have you in their life, that would love to share space and time with you. And so I think you need to remember as well, like, you might project negative assumption on the people that you meet and the people that you connect with, like, oh, I'm annoying, or it's like, yeah, pile 3. It's really annoying that you are such a good listener and so easy to talk to, and are so gentle and caring with everyone. Super annoying. And I hope you can tell that that's my sarcasm speaking, because that's not like, and I feel like I don't know where this stems from. It could be probably many things, but I feel like many of us struggle with this idea of like, I'm connecting with someone, or I'm just existing and being seen. Am I a nuisance? Am I a problem? And I struggle with that too. So no, you're not alone. But it's like, no, you're not. And like, these are not, like, you are not meant to exist on the periphery of life. You're meant to be a part of it, and you're very much needed there. Your gentle spirit and kind heart are needed in so many circles, are needed in so many ways, and you have the right and the power to choose what circles you want to be in, literally, because they're circles. And I like how these 00s kind of look like eyes. Like, you can trust your own intuitive insights, and I feel like if you have refined your circles to be a lot more uplifting and loving, I feel like you need to give yourself permission to just embrace that more and be part of these groups, and allow yourself to be supported in the way you support others, and trust in your own intuitive guidance. And on the flip side, if there are people that are taking advantage of your kindness, or that you don't necessarily feel safe around, I feel like you owe it to yourself to honor that, whether you have evidence for it or not. You deserve to trust yourself, and you deserve to trust your own insights. That's a powerful form of self-love. If you gaslight yourself constantly, it's going to be really hard to navigate life without second guessing every single thing that you do. What about this Six of Pentacles, Spirit? How is this Six of Pentacles, generous energy, supporting? Yes. Oh, this is beautiful. We got two, actually. So we have number 10. I like how this matches. You have great leadership skills, and your mind is sharp and allows you to dream up of ingenious ideas that organize all the details, then direct others how to carry things out. I am ingenious. And 888, as you focus on all the wonderful things that surround you, you're clearing the path for more positive energy to flow into all areas of your life, creating a place for abundance. I'm abundant. So yeah, I definitely think the work that you're doing is bringing in more abundance, and I think that you are naturally an abundant person. I think one thing that you may forget is that you may not see yourself as a natural leader. You may see yourself as like a number 2 or the type of person to defer to others. But I think Spirit is really calling you to step up and lead more, not only in your own personal life, but in serving others and being someone that influences others to be kinder, to be warmer, to be softer, to be more generous and understanding. Like, you have the ability to be a leader. It's just, you need to give yourself grace and understand that inherently we will fail others. We will not be perfect all the time. We can't be everything for everyone, and we're not meant to be what everyone needs. But being you and being your human flawed self is absolutely enough, especially when your heart's in the right place. And I definitely think it is. I feel like the universe is going to continue to reward you with abundance, especially as you give so much of yourself. But I think that you could have even more if you just gave yourself permission to go after what feels right for you and to be unapologetic about the time and energy that might take. You know, you might have to spend more time focused on yourself, less time, holding space for others. But I feel like, that is something that will give you more time and energy in the future to do that. I feel like your generous nature is kind of helping you see that, not everyone is as generous as you are. And maybe you have discomfort around the idea of having more power or leading others, because what if you're wrong, or what if you mess up, or what if you hurt someone? But that's the type of leader we need. People that care if they hurt other people. People that care that they give to others. It's so common for leaders now to be very self-focused or be focused on power and control. The leaders of the future are not going to be about themselves. They're going to be about those who they lead, and not see themselves as above, but just see themselves as a part of a greater whole. And you understand that. You recognize that. You need to trust in where you're being guided and what your heart is telling you, because there's some deep wisdom there, and there's a lot of people that could just benefit from you trusting in what you have to give to others. And I feel like as you feel more comfortable receiving in return, you will realize like, oh, I don't have to stick around in draining situations. I don't have to lead those who don't want to be led. I don't have to accept abuse from others or, just negativity from others because they have issues that they need to work through. I think you're really just starting to see, like, the Six of Pentacles is starting to show you like just how valuable your presence is and how much you're needed. And I think it's an important reminder for you that you are so much more than you think you are. And I think you're stepping into a powerful level of sovereignty and a powerful level of leadership. And I think what you're realizing is that you didn't need to change yourself to do that. You just had to trust who you inherently are, and trust that those who need you will be there to receive you, and those who don't will find their way out. This is beautiful energy, and I don't know if anything that I'm saying is making sense. I hope it is, but you are different, and that's a beautiful thing. It's not something that you need to hide. Okay, so I'm going to use this deck now to look at, these two energies and just see what you can do to shift, balance, and heal these energies. Yeah, this deck is quite thick. almost as thick as your heart. Okay, Spirit, how can pile 3 shift this 5 of Wands energy, heal this 5 of Wands energy? We have cheerful, the heart chakra. The trigger statement is, I am powerless, and the true statement is, I am excited to see what the future brings. The future is bright. Enjoy knowing that your optimism today fuels your amazing tomorrow. Yeah, I feel like one thing that you need to remember is like, you might be constantly anticipating negativity from others, or like seeing how there's flaws in your logic or flaws in how you view the world. But there's flaws in everyone's viewpoint. It's literally impossible to be able to have the perfect perspective. We're human. We're not meant to have that. Like, we have limits. And I feel like one of the uncomfortable things about stepping up and taking the lead is that not everyone will agree with you. Not everyone will want to support you. And there will be people that want to be leaders that don't have the courage in themselves, that will want to tear you down. And that's where you have to see your power and realize, like, you know, I have the power to say no to that. I have the power to reject that which is not serving me. And I feel like you don't need to argue with others or prove yourself to others, especially ones that don't care. Like, you know how there are just people that want to see the world burn, or just, you know, want to tear others down, and they're not really interested in. You don't need to engage with people that are engaging with you in bad faith, I guess is the point of what I'm saying. Like, your heart isn't best served there. There are people that and I'm sure you're learning that, like, there are people already that benefit and receive your authentic self, and that's what they need. And there are other people who are going to reject your authentic self, and for many different reasons. And I think what you need to realize is you don't need to let those people's problems be something that taints your joy and the joy that you have in sharing with others. You have the power to say no. And I feel like there's a part of you that feels like you have to consider every negative viewpoint or every negative thing that comes your way, especially from someone else, and especially when it's unprompted or coming out of nowhere, and you don't. I feel like one thing you need to realize is that you can't win everyone. And, you know, you could be the juiciest peach in the peach town, but there's gonna still be people that don't like peaches. And that's not your problem. I feel like you really need to stop projecting the fears of the past onto your future, because your future is just going to continue to be getting better. And that doesn't mean that you won't face challenge and frustration, but your heart is what will move you through that and remind you that it is okay to be flawed, and it is okay to be criticized. You don't have to accept that. People are addicted to criticism right now, and I think it's because it's because we criticize ourselves, and it's because I love a lot of things. But just know that just because, I mean, I'm worthy of criticism, everyone's worthy of criticism. And that there are all things that we can improve upon. There are all things that we can, there's many ways in which we can grow. But you're allowed to accept yourself and step into a role of leadership and believe in a more positive future now. You don't need to hold on to this idea that you have to be perfect in order to step up, or believe in this idea that you have to be fully accepted by others in order to step into more leadership or take the next steps in the future. You just need to accept yourself and realize you're enough. And also realize that the negative things people have projected onto your future are not the truth about your future. It's how they feel about themselves and what they want for you, because that's what they think they have for themselves. And maybe they do, but that's not your problem. Okay, what about this 3 of Swords, Spirit? How can pile 3 balance this energy and shift it? Can they balance? Yes, letting go. The trigger statement is, this is not the way it is supposed to be. And the true statement is, I am free. Lift up your burdens and allow the divine to free you from them. Allow yourself to be cleansed of anything that is weighing you down. Yeah, there's a need for you to remember what isn't your burden to carry. And also ask yourself, like, have you punished yourself enough for, being human, having conflict? And also recognizing that sometimes it's more freeing to let go than it is to hold on. I definitely think there's a need for you to let go of attachments around resolutions, especially if the people you're looking for resolution with aren't interested in that, or if you are forcing yourself to have closure or a positive resolution with something, I feel like you're really being called to recognize that you don't need that to move forward, and you don't have to hold on and carry that, because more often than not, you know, the people that you're desiring that with likely don't care as much as you do. And that might sound hurtful, but it's the truth. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because that when they're the ones sowing the discord in the first place, when they're the ones, like, they're hurting far too much to even think about that. And, you know, I feel like one thing you just need to realize is that it may take time and it may be a process to let go of certain things, but it's worth it. And you deserve to let go of what stops you from fully embracing and enjoying the life that the universe wants you to experience, and the love and positivity it wants you to receive, because you give so much of that. But I feel like there's a part of you that allows your internal unresolved wounds to taint that and make you feel like you have to earn it, or you have to almost like punish yourself in order to be deserving or worthy of it, and that you have to achieve this perfect level of perfection before you step out of line and be seen. And it's okay to be seen right now as you are. You are more than enough. And I really think it's time for you to start letting go of what makes you feel like you're not enough and not worthy of that, because you are. So more than anything, hell fucking yes, you pass the vibe check. The only thing you don't pass the vibe check about is holding on to definitions of yourself that aren't true for you, and that, you know, keep you stuck in loops of pain that are not even necessarily yours to carry. I mean, you might have to heal pain around how it affected you, but I definitely think you need to give yourself credit for that. If you're the type of person to invalidate your wounds and be like, well, they hurt me because they were hurt. And it's like, yeah, they are hurt, but you were hurt too. And you deserve to validate that. Like, other people's flaws and acknowledging other people's flaws doesn't mean that you just invalidate how it hurt you. And that validation can be a powerful way to be like, yeah, this was painful and I'm going to let it go. And it may take time. It may not happen immediately, but it's a choice that you can continue to make. And I think more than anything, just giving yourself grace is going to go a long way. You deserve that. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off with some guidance cards. And we're going to start by looking at 2 crystals that could help you, you know, just help keep your vibe high. Ooh, we have Golden Healer. Universal life force flows strongly with the Golden Healer. With an exceedingly high vibration, Golden Healer carries scalar waves, an abundant form of power that increases in spatial mass. This potent energy can expand awareness across multiple dimensions, transforming your vibration all the way down to the cells in your body. Connected to the solar plexus, this stone allows the highest form of healing for your identity and self-worth, releasing ancestral trauma that may have affected you and been passed down through your family lineage. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm telling you, like, you are so much brighter and more loving than you realize. And I feel like people that are triggered by your love are going to want to tear that down, because it's literally like when the sun is too bright. They can put shades on. They can draw the curtains. It's not your fault for shining. And think about it too. The sun doesn't beat itself up for shining. The sun is a source of life, and we need it. We need you the same way. We have Amazonite. Objectivity, filter, truth. Filtering vibrations is what Amazonite does best, from electromagnetic pollution, your thoughts, and environmental influences. So if you're prone to environmental sensitivity, Amazonite has your back. This is a great way to cleanse yourself from technology if you need a break from your devices. Amazonite encourages discernment, allowing you to be unbiased in your decision-making. Objectivity leads the way, offering clarity on which choices are best for you. Detach from the outside in order to connect on the inside. Beautiful. Yeah, these are beautiful energies, and you already have that. You just need to own it. Name it and claim it, you beautiful, sweet soul. Okay, let's see what else. Yes, surrender to effortlessness. Stop pushing so hard. The art of living means going with the flow instead of trying to force the river. We have Chameleon. Stay in the background and adapt to the situation rather than being conspicuous and attempting to direct the course of events. So I think this is specifically regarding, I feel like I need to cover that up. I'm afraid I'm gonna get in trouble. I feel like this is especially regarding any current situations where you might be receiving a lot of negativity. If you don't have to confront someone. Like, you don't owe them anything, especially if you know that like it will just only lead to further chaos and it will only hurt you. But I don't necessarily agree with this guidance in the sense that you don't have to control things, which I don't think you are, but I feel like there's a need for you to recognize where maybe you could step out and be seen more, and maybe where you could just kind of have like a laissez-faire attitude and let things be as they are, especially with people or situations where you feel like it's imbalanced in terms of resolution and healing and peace. Like, those are the ones where you just kind of want to be like, okay, I'm just going to kind of move my my focus and attention elsewhere. But finally, we have you're very close to achieving your goals. So yeah, I feel like you're much closer than you realize to really breaking free and through a lot of negative things that have been holding you back and a lot of internal wounds. And I think what you need to know is that you're doing amazing. You passed the vibe check with flying colors, and I'm proud of you for not letting go of your sweet, loving nature. And I just hope that you continue to gain the power to protect that loving nature and not allow it to be taken advantage of, and not allow, you know, the opinions and projections of those who can't even see your sweet spirit to allow those projections to define you and define your worth and take them on as truth, because they're not the truth. They're lies. So pile 3, that's where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for letting my ads play in the background. That is one of the simplest and easiest ways to support me and show appreciation for my channel. So thank you to everyone who does that. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, comment down below and let me know how it resonates. You could subscribe if you haven't already. If you want me to see your comment, I usually see them when I first upload. So being part of my notification squad would be really helpful. You can check out my candles. Be sure to use code ISO10 on any and all candles on the site. You can check out my merch, and you can check out my other videos. But that's all I have. So thank you so much for watching and for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!